All right.
Oh, man. Happy Monday.
Welcome back. Market Mondays. A lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah, man. How y'all feeling? Y'all good?
Amazing. So much to talk about. I'm going to be calm and cool today, though.
Yeah,
be a voice of reason.
Appreciate
Oh,
it.
man. Let me do that, man. Please.
Appreciate it.
No, come on.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that has made it to this week. For a lot of you who are just getting into the investment space, it was a tumultuous week last week in the market, but there's a lot to be learned. There's a lot to be learned. So we're gonna get into some things today.
All right. So yeah, dope episode tomorrow. Earn Your Leisure. Felicia Hatchett. She runs Pharrell's nonprofit organization and is
that's fire.
Mastermind in the world of marketing, and she will be speaking at InvestFest also. So we have Blackout this week, and of course we got a lot of topics that we got to cover. So make sure you tap into that. That's going to be, that's going to be a fun convo as always.
Yeah,
yes.
As always.
10 o'clock Wednesdays. Set your clock, and if you miss it at 10, go watch it at 11. If you miss it at that, go listen to it on all audio platforms. Run it up.
For sure.
Please.
And before Joe Button starts to comment, this was done by accident, coincidence, as far as matching t-shirts.
We're brothers.
Yeah.
That's a vibe, though. Y'all was in sync. Just that's fire. You know what I mean?
Give me a high five.
It was a pure coincidence, not planned. So
looks good, man. Looks good on you.
They look good.
All right, but we got a lot to talk about. We got a guest, Pinky Code, and we got another surprise guest.
Demanded it.
Hey.
So we got a lot to talk. We got jam-packed stuff, and then of course there's been so much stuff that's happening in the world. So I don't want to take up too much time, but get your tickets. Oh, we're gonna do the raffle thing too, right?
Yes. We got to announce our winner this week. Absolutely.
All right, so we'll do that in a little bit for everybody that into that for the chance to win the VIP upgrade and the Welcome to Atlanta Sweepstakes. Shout out to all you guys. So get your tickets to InvestFest. We'll be talking about it later on. We got some dope announcements to make, and yeah, we got some other stuff. But like I said, I'll get the show started because I know there's a lot to talk about. So, Ian, anything you want to talk about?
Yes, if you want to get rich from the market, regardless of who is in office, go to ianinvest.com so you can know the best companies to invest in, where to get in, where to get out, how far they would go up. If I've made you money, please put yes in chat. I will say this, double down on investing. I said this on Stock Club call yesterday, but whatever you're investing in the market currently, you need to double it over the next 2 years. So in 5 years, you can still live the life that you're living today. If I made you money, please put yes in chat.
I need a link, man. I need a link to the Stock Club call. I want to join one.
Oh, I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, man. It's about time. It's about time.
Long overdue. Yeah. I need to come on an options call too in September too.
Yeah, that was fun.
Right after InvestFest, that'd be a great time.
For sure. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Home and home. All right, y'all know how this goes. Shout out to Baltimore really quickly before we get to the disclaimer. Shout out to Baltimore, shout out to Raven, and shout out to Anthony. Incredible event this weekend. Shout out to everybody that pulled up on us. Yeah, that was dope. Always good to talk to entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs at that. And shout out to John Burns, who we sat down with for a really, really good conversation. All right, you know how this works. This is our disclaimer. Do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It is very important that you're doing your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. People continue to do the research, continue to share the research, continue to make wise decisions and share wise decisions, and let's make money. That's what this is about, changing our financial trajectory.
Yes.
We can do it together. Love is love.
Barack Hussein Obama, call me.
Please.
I got some ideas.
Please.
I was going to be a voice reason. I'm throwing it out the window. Come on.
It's over? That was quick.
So we're going to talk about the presidential situation in a minute, but before we talk about that, I want to talk about the global tech outage that happened last week that is still continuing. 600 flights got canceled today. Delta had to cancel 600 flights today. So there's still ramifications of the global tech outage that happened last week, still continuing this week. And a major player in that is CrowdStrike, a company that we've talked about a lot on the show. And as a result of that, their stock tumbled over the last 2 days, Friday and today. So first, thoughts on the global tech outage, but then also specifically CrowdStrike. So it's hovering around like 265-ish area. So over 30% drop from its 52-week high. So would this be a buying opportunity for CrowdStrike?
I'm just gonna fall more. Truth be told, probably need to wait to 249.77. Hell of a drop. Great company. This is now for those of you who have been in it. If you experience 20% drop, rule of thumb, please put it in chat. If it drops 20% and it's not a top 5 company, you need to sell it and reposition it. So 249.77. If you buy it at 277 or 260, cool. But I would be waiting for 249.77 if I wanted to buy it long term. Troy, you're right. CrowdStrike is not better than Tesla. Elon, I'm so sorry.
I think what you said
got me out of here.
Yeah, because we got a lot of text about it. It's still a great company. Losing $20 billion in valuation in a 3-day span is just it's tumultuous. It's a tough run for them. But it talks about the importance of cybersecurity. The most important thing I thought that came from it was like people heard the name CrowdStrike, and then it became the number one thing searched on Google. It was like nobody knew what this company was, but it talks about the importance of cybersecurity when it can affect banks, when it can affect travel, when it can affect large enterprise, when it can affect hospitals, and then its customers as well, right? So it first started with Microsoft saying, "Hey, we're down," and the interesting thing is that Microsoft has its own cybersecurity, but they were still using this platform. Obviously, it was leading in the space. It's gonna be tough, like you said.
Palo Alto, you're up.
I was just gonna say that. Thanks, Ian.
Sorry.
We spoke about market shares last week when we talked about Tesla inside the EV space. When you talk about market shares inside of cybersecurity, when you ask the question, are they better than Tesla? And I was kind of like, nah, there's so much competition. Those margins are a lot smaller, right? So they don't have 18% market share, but like right next to them is Microsoft with 17%, and I think Palo Alto is next up with probably like 15%. And so you can see when an event like this happens from a company like this, when you're the number one in the space, you're gonna lose some clients, and that's gonna happen. Does it still remain a great company? Yeah. Will it be number one in the space? That is in question. It is in high doubt. High doubt right now. But there are still people who still believe in it. I just saw Kathy Woods just invested $12 million.
A sign that it's not going to do well. Look, Kathy, I love you. ARKK, shout out to the entire team. Y'all mean the world to me. That is a sign that it's
before the situation was even resolved. You saw Elon said, "Look, we're out. We're no longer using this in any of our systems." Before they could even fix the issue, that doesn't help. Microsoft, obviously, this is a huge issue for them. They may look at it as like, we don't need you as a client anymore. So yeah, I think the stock moves down a little bit more. We spoke about it in shout out to everybody in EYLU and a few options calls, but this is why it's like, long term is great, leaps are great, but if you're going to do short term, be very calculated. If you have a percentage, hit your percentage and move on. Got a few texts about, hey, I was up 190% in the stock, we pulled down to 110, what should I do? You're still up 110%, right?
Blessing.
This is one of those things, like count the blessing and say, all right, is this an opportunity to watch it fall, or do I take profit, or do I reposition? I think those are the questions that people should ask. But it's a good question to ask yourself if you're in that position. But I think most importantly is that people had strategy and they didn't panic when they saw it. Overall for the week, it was a tough week, but people didn't panic. And that's kind of what I'll talk about a little bit more later on.
Gross margin 75%, profit margin 2.92%. You cannot get me to believe that because you did a single line of code out of billions of lines of code that have made a worldwide outage happen, or because you pushed an update to Falcon. If you go on Wix.com or Squarespace, they got control measurements in place to make sure that when the update goes, it does not mess up. And then kudos to the CEO. But when you went on CNBC in 360p, I said, oh, baby. Not a good sign. I'm here to tell the truth today. When we get to the political commentary, I'm going to even out and be responsible.
Yeah.
But right now, CrowdStrike, Palo Alto is on you. Microsoft is on you. And then as a result, because now more than ever, because of the political climate, we'll get to it in a little bit, every company has to be stronger and safer than ever because we have unrest like we haven't seen in a long period of time. Satya is pissed enough. Microsoft, I'm disappointed for you at the DEI decision. I want to be very clear about that. But Satya is not going to let this fall on them. And then CrowdStrike, you have to look out for lawsuits that are going to come their way as a result of this. Fellas, if you were going to book that flight, you got a good excuse to why you can't do it today, though. Tune in to blackout. Maybe I was going to, but
they were adamant about it not being a cyber attack. What's your thoughts on that? You think it was just an upgrade issue?
It was a worldwide outage. And you want to have me believe that y'all messed up in the uploading of the new software program? We've had Houston without power, Centerpoint 800 million in mobile power units that never touched down in Houston. We'll get to that one day. Presidential attack or assassination attempt. President incumbent steps down, and you want to tell me that you didn't fuck up the code or the software push? Yeah, right. Because if you say it's a cyber attack, you're out of business. It's over with.
The largest in history, the largest outage in the history of the world.
Bro, the signs in the airports were out. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on. Rest in peace, John McAfee. We're going to have a conversation about John on Blackout one day, but I got to call the International Monetary Fund, make sure we protect it first. So,
John McAfee.
So,
didn't think that was going to happen today.
So
let's talk about the big news of the weekend. President Joe Biden announced that he will not be running for re-election, ending his campaign bid, and has endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. She has accepted that endorsement and is running for president. She hasn't officially been named the Democratic nominee yet. I think there's a process they have to go through to actually go through that. But all signs point that she will be the nominee. Yeah. She has the endorsement of Joe Biden. She has the endorsement of Bill Clinton. She has the endorsement, probably most importantly, of Gavin Newsom, who would probably be the biggest opponent to her. So I heard some speculation that Joe Manchin might run, but I don't think he'll.
Sit down, Joe.
Yeah, I don't think
this ain't the year to Joe.
Don't play around.
I don't think he'll have support. Okay. So it looks like she's going to be running for president.
Yeah. At the convention, she officially gets a nomination if she's the person.
Well, by then they already know that she's the nominee.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the coordination.
No, for sure. But I'm saying it's still the party has not officially named her as the person yet.
Yeah.
So what's the thoughts on this?
Well, let's start with who hasn't endorsed. Uncle Barack Hussein Obama, please call me. But it's glaring that he hasn't endorsed her yet. We've been talking about this since the top of the year. Biden needed to step down. I didn't think he would. So Troy, I want to be very clear. I didn't think this would ever happen. You were correct. But I've been screaming that our leadership in America has gone down, and I know they didn't want him. He didn't want to step down, but Pelosi and others stepped in to make sure that he did, so the Democrats didn't get shellacked in November. I think it was the right decision, even though he didn't want to. When ego comes into play, I think ultimately he did the right thing to give Democrats a chance. Now, 4 months to the election is crazy work. Oh my God. I said, damn, you didn't even get a chance to put the campaign together. But I think it was needed, should have happened in January. Money has been pouring in. The market stabilized as a result, because I think we know the Trump campaign is not too happy about this redirect as well. So things are going to get very interesting. But I think this is long overdue. Also on the Democratic side, the war is not over. You still need to keep your promises of what you're going to do for the people, especially Black people. I'm not moving off that point. I know y'all want support, but I need a firm plan. First 90 days, first 6 months, first year. What are you going to do for us?
I think you bring up some interesting points. as we got further, it almost seemed like unlikely. Although I agree, I thought he should have stepped down. I started to think this morning about the timing of it, and perhaps maybe it strategically was done in the sense of
by design.
The closer that we get to the convention, the less narrative or competition it will be for her to not be the person, right?
Yep.
If he had announced this in February, maybe there's a runoff or there's a primary that now happens for the DNC, and now there's competition, which leads to turmoil, which leads to division. The closer you get, it becomes like there's only one option, and it feels that way. Do I think it took a lot of courage for him to do that? I think so. I don't think it was something that he wanted to do. The glaring part is, yes, we saw, and I text the group chat yesterday. Once it was announced, I think within 30 minutes, we saw obviously Biden endorse Madam Vice President, and we saw the Clintons endorse Madam Vice President. We did not hear from the Obama team, which is interesting. We didn't hear from Hakeem Jeffries, which is also interesting. Nancy Pelosi, we did not hear from, which is also interesting. And these were the people that they said in the last week or so were the people who reached out to the president to say this is probably the best step forward for the party and for the country, really. So I mean, we'll see what happens in the coming days. But yeah, it's the beginning of, all right, well, now the focus is here on you. There's a younger voice, 59 years old, obviously has been the vice president for this administration. But these things move in camps. And so, the Biden camp is one part of the Democratic Party, but the Harris camp is a part of it as well. And so we'll see what they come with. I know she's, they've been talking about her being on a phone call with donors throughout the last couple of weeks and the last couple of days.
Smart.
And I saw that they raised over $50 million. So we'll see where that ticket, the money that was going toward the campaign, if it goes to her, hopefully it does if she's the person. And they put forth an effort that is going to be an uphill battle. We'll see. It's going to be important who she picks as our vice president. I know it's something we'll probably talk about shortly. But you're starting to see Newsom has come out supporting her. Shapiro has come out and supported her or endorsed her. So we'll see, right? Because that Westmore, these type of names could bring excitement, which could get people out to vote. So we'll see.
Rashad, you're the all political chess master. What do you think?
Well, I'll save my full-blown opinion for a later date. But I will say this. I don't necessarily think that I'm not concerned that Obama or Hakeem Jeffries has not supported her yet. It's only been 24 hours. So they have to play to the party as well, right? They can't just look like they pushed Biden out just to get her in.
Yep.
They have to make it seem like everybody's going to get a chance. Everybody's voice is going to be heard. Everybody, but she's gonna get the nominee. I don't think that they don't want to support her. I just think that they're going through the due diligence process, and they're playing the game of politics where they got to have meetings with people. They got to hear people's concerns. They got to But I think relatively shortly, within the next week, they will officially announce her as the person, and then going into the Democratic. I don't think it'll be like up for grabs going into the convention. I don't see that happening. I think that she will have a clear path going into the convention.
Agree.
I think that she is very competent. Of course, it's an uphill battle for sure. Trump was already ahead. And I think he's going to maintain that lead or probably even, gain a little bit. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's impossible. Is it an uphill battle? Yes. Mm-hmm. Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. I think she has to, make sure that she rallies up the base, Black women, but Black men also. The Latino vote, very important. The women, white women, very important.
Very important.
White men, that's not going to happen. But, if she can rally support, especially for white women, that's important in these battleground states. And she can put together a new message very quickly and get herself out there very quickly. She only has a couple of months to kind of rebrand this whole situation. Mm-hmm. I think that she at least has a shot at winning. If there's a odds, I think Trump likes his odds at this point in time, but I think that if they do a debate, she has a shot to, catch him off guard or catch him in different moments. I would assume she would be more quicker on her feet than Joe Biden, who's 82 years old, in a debate. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But I think the market has factored in a Trump victory. I think they already factored
Absolutely.
in. I think they factored in a Trump victory months ago. But I think that they factored in a Trump victory. But I think that if she does win, I don't think that it causes any disruption. I feel like she's a seasoned politician. She's already been number 2 for 4 years. So the cabinet wouldn't really change. The cabinet wouldn't change. It's not like she's coming in with a new cabinet. It's the same cabinet. Only person that would change in the cabinet is the vice president. But everybody else, head of education, transportation, secretary of all of these different things. So in that regard, it's actually better because it's not like when Trump comes in, he's going to have to clean house and have to hire everybody and change everything. It's kind of the disruption. So markets like stability. So in that standpoint, she would actually be good for the market because at least we already know what we have. We know we have, a stable hand right now. So if she continues, then it would be the same thing, right? When we wouldn't have a drastic 180 complete turnaround. So I think that it's going to be interesting. It's unprecedented.
Mm-hmm.
There's only been one president ever to not seek re-election after he has completed his first term, and I think that was like 60 years ago.
Lyndon B. Johnson.
Before our lifetime. And we've never seen a president that was in the middle of a campaign and just dropped out 3 months before the election. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Yeah.
So, but I will say this. Did say that he did not have a chance of winning months ago, right?
He did say that.
I think that this could have been done earlier, but hey, maybe the later, the better. Because they don't really have time to, launch full-fledged attacks and all of that. Like even Obama, like if you watch Obama's career, he didn't follow the traditional path to run for president. He got in Senate quickly, and then 2 years after he became a senator, he announced that he's running for president. And his theory was that the longer he was going to wait, the harder it was going to be. He just needed to just catch it real quick. Like, he didn't have time to be a seasoned politician. And then people, just start hating and they levy attacks. He was still an anomaly because nobody really knew who he was. Like, and people use that against him because they're like, he has no experience, but that actually helped him because that short window accelerated him. So maybe this short window is actually more beneficial for her instead of running for a whole entire year where you get exhausted and you got to go through the nonsense. Maybe just, this is just a real quick 3-month run that might actually work in her favor. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I think
he doesn't have.
Yeah, I think we agree on that. I think we're looking at it the same way. Like until this morning, I'm like, wow, why would they wait this long? Why would they wait this long? But I'm like, wait, what if that was very strategically done? So I agree with you on that. I think that was played out because again, on the reasons that you said, it now lessens the field of people, right? How many governors would have said that I want to put my hat in the race to be the nominee?
But I think it's by coincidence, though, because I think Joe Biden did not want to drop.
I know
he did not want to step down.
He didn't want to.
I think he
Hefe and Pelosi had to go to him.
I think he was 100%. But once again, this goes to show you that nobody's bigger than the program, because I think that he was 100% all in. But money talks. And when,
the funding dried up,
Netflix and all of the George Clooney, when hundreds of millions of dollars start to be being withdrawn or withheld, then you got to go. Even the president, nobody's bigger. And that's a lesson. Nobody's bigger than the program. I don't care if you're a star basketball player or a rapper or the president. You said it's not true?
Well, he wasn't for sure.
Who's bigger than the program?
The person who made the program.
Who made the program?
If are we gonna be honest, or are we gonna be like cool?
Give me an example. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just interested to know.
Barry's bigger than the program. Barry made him step down.
Barry who?
Barry, the Barry.
No.
Obama.
Barry and that Barry? You talking about the Barry from Chicago?
Obama. There's no Ian. You know better than
he's not bigger than the program.
You know better. You of all people know. And I love and respect. you know that Obama is not bigger than the program. You know that.
He made the boy step down.
You know he's not bigger than the program.
He advised him.
And he got advised.
Yeah.
He got advised to advise.
Yeah.
Like, you know that. Let's not even go down that path. Let's not go.
All right. How about this? I will ask this.
LeBron James bigger than the program.
No, you're not.
The person who made that program.
Michael Jordan wasn't bigger than the program. Nobody's bigger than
the Bulls been in the shit in shambles ever since.
But they showed him that he wasn't bigger than the program, right?
Yeah.
They still making money. They still billionaires.
The final dance wasn't supposed to be the final dance. He's not bigger than the program.
Not bigger than the program.
He wanted to play. We're moving on.
The person who came up with that slogan, is that a person we should aspire to be like or no?
Who's that? What slogan?
Bigger than the program.
I don't necessarily think it's that you aspire to be like the person, but it's truth, right? It's like, you know, we could go down this Billy Carson rabbit hole, but
we need to.
You gotta talk.
Also at Invest. real quick, because I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago when I asked you guys, is this definitely over? What are your thoughts now? Is this, or do you see that there's new life? There's a chance.
There's new life. There's a chance, but the selection of the vice president is going to be the biggest decision of her life if she wants to win. Okay. I think there's maybe one or two people who may allow her to win. You need to go kiss the ring.
I want to go there. What,
go ahead.
No, I want to hear Shotty's first.
I mean, no, it's not over now because they just elected a new person, so you got to give her some time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the odds are not in her favor, but I don't think that she has a 0% chance.
Okay. Y'all want to go there now? Should we do that?
Yes.
So if you had to pick, right, the person that would run as her vice president to keep this campaign with the momentum that it needs to get over this, I think they said Biden was down by 1% in a lot of the national poll.
The swing state, he was
losing in most of them. Yeah. So who would be the person that, from your opinion, that would be the ideal fit for this?
I'll go last. Rashad, I'm gonna swing it to you. Or Troy.
I don't.
Are we still but believe in the 81 million votes bullshit from last time or no?
Well, I don't think that it's as narrow as just two people. I think that she picks middle-aged white man, slightly conservative. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
No name?
Anybody. Just like, I mean, who's JD Vance, right? Like, I mean,
we ain't know.
You pick
MAGA Lord.
You pick somebody safe. You don't pick a superstar.
I think she. So I'll go out. I'll say a name. I think Josh Shapiro is the person that she'll probably pick because of the fact that he is a rising star in the Democratic Party. The fact that he was an attorney general, the fact that he's a governor inside of a state that you absolutely must have.
Inside of what state?
So he's the governor of Pennsylvania.
So
in order for Biden, we saw that what happened last election cycle. Pennsylvania was needed, right, for the electoral votes. He's the governor of the state. Obviously, that.
So do you think him being Jewish will hinder him? There's never been a Jewish vice president or president. The last person they tried was Lieberman.
Yes.
And that didn't work out. Not to say that he was the reason why.
No. Good question. That was the next point.
That's a great question.
I don't know if it hurts him. I don't know. Right? It's almost like we've never had a black woman run for president.
You're gonna have a black woman and a Jewish man. That's an interesting thing.
Now, exactly.
If you're going to be liberal, you need to go ultra liberal and fight for your principles and not try and be in the middle, which has got them shellacked in their ass kicked the last 5 or 6 years.
That's who I think they will select. Who I would love for them to select, is the governor of Maryland. But that's not going to happen.
You're not going to have a black woman.
I said that's who I would like. I just said that's who I would like. I know it's not going to happen.
It's not Wakanda. It's America.
I'm sure real.
That's what I would like to happen. I know it's not going to happen. So I think Shapiro will be the choice.
Yeah, I think Shapiro will be the choice. I know Gavin Newsom is in consideration. I don't think he wants to be underneath that ticket. The best pick is someone who probably isn't on the board. You need to call Auntie Shell and Barack and get some advice on who that pick should be. Immediately. I can campaign all I want to be an investor, but when we have a direct relationship, things can go awry. And the DNC can be very tricky. Oh, at the time when Bernie was piping hot, they took that shit away from him. You don't think it can happen to her? Okay, let me ask this question. Who would be the VP candidate that would make it a home run for her to win? There is no in between. Everything is loss or win. Those candidates are good. They don't guarantee a win.
No, for sure. But it would be impossible for her not to be the nominee of the Democratic Party.
Oh, I agree 1,000%. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So even if they just have to sacrifice an election, there's no way you're going to be able to skip up a vice president who is qualified, who hasn't done anything to disqualify herself, who's a woman, who's a black woman. If they bypass her for a white man,
trouble.
The party's over.
Yeah, it's done.
The party's over.
It's over with.
It's over.
I think the ideal ticket would be her and Newsom.
Oh, Newsom's not going to do it.
I know, but I'm saying he's not. But if they had to figure like that would be the ideal ticket. And I think, I mean, they both come from California, so I'm not sure. I don't really know Democratic law, but I think there's something there. I don't know if you can have two delegates from the same state representing for vice president and president, but I think that would be ideal for them. But like you said, I think he's looking at a clear cut. He wants to be president.
Yeah, he's not doing that.
Yeah.
No. Has Bill Clinton endorsed her?
Yeah, right away.
Okay.
Bill and Hillary.
Okay.
So the Clinton camp is on board.
There's just one more ring to kiss and you good.
So Obama. So you think Obama's bigger than the program? That's interesting. We got to finish that conversation on
the person who builds the program is always bigger than the program. International Monetary Fund.
But what program did he build?
So that person dies, or if a program like the founding fathers built America, right? And the founding fathers aren't here anymore, right? But they have systems in place. But even those systems are being repealed. What they just did in the Supreme Court goes against Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson's probably rolling in his grave right now. This is
why? Because Shannon, his great grandchild. Why? They wanted it
because they gave up immunity. The whole thing. They wanted to never have a king in America. Remember, they come from the royal family in England. America was the rebellious bastard child of England, and they wanted to the Boston Tea Party, right? They didn't want to hail the queen. They never wanted to have somebody to have absolute power. So for the Supreme Court to give a president immunity, that goes against everything that the Constitution was actually built on. So they actually so the program was set in place and they overrid the program. So but we can continue this conversation. But nobody's bigger than the program.
It's not true.
But we can.
Sometimes a person could be so valuable and leave the program falls apart.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
The program still exists though.
But if a good program is set in place,
it's not good.
It runs without a person. It runs consistently, like Microsoft or Apple, right? Nobody's bigger than the program.
Or Skull and Bones. Or Bilderberg. We're just gonna talk about real shit today. Or the Royal Scots. We're gonna talk real shit today. We can say the boy, NVIDIA. But who funds all them? Even the bastard children who got put here in America, who were they funded by? The same people who kicked them out. So we can talk all this, we're free shit, but when all of the funding came from the IRS, came from England and Vatican, these are just my thoughts. Tune in to Blackout every Wednesday.
Please. 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Okay.
Appreciate you.
So okay. So what are 20 companies that are better investments in Tesla?
Baby. Okay.
Hold on. I'm writing them as you say them.
Thank you. Apple. Microsoft. Number 3, you'll love this one. Oh, Taiwan Semiconductor. Can't argue that. That's your baby.
Yeah, we're gonna
Saudi Aramco.
Okay.
Google. Yes. Kudos to Jeffrey Bezos and Lauren. Appreciate you. Amazon. At number 6, Berkshire Hathaway. At number 8, some company that you guys love and have a relationship with, Visa. Eli Lilly, NVIDIA, Meta, United Healthcare, Broadcom, ExxonMobil, Vanguard, BlackRock, Applied Materials, Mercado Libre, another company you'll love, Thermo Fisher, JP Morgan, and then the one that's going to be the biggest program Ask, OpenAI, when it becomes publicly traded.
Not publicly traded though.
When it becomes public.
And how many people do you know that are invested in Berkshire Hathaway?
Me personally,
And you didn't say Walmart.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
But I would have put
Walmart.
I would have
sure.
put. I would have put.
for sure.
their program.
I did my lottery, and I got them. I still got Tesla at 13.
They're the program.
I got them at 12. I'm sorry. I'm gonna run down mine. You want mine?
Sure, of course. We family.
All right. We got Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Google, Meta, TSM, Lilly, Broadcom, Chipotle, AMD. I got Tesla at 12.
I left out Chipotle.
I know you did. I don't even know why you put United Healthcare. You didn't mean that. I got Amex at 13. And then I got Netflix at 14. So that's the lottery. Then I got Costco, Thermo, Visa, P&G. And then I got, this is like a wild card, but I think if we're looking for the next 5 years, what we should be we should keep our eye on. I got Supermicro.
Got you.
I mean,
Got you.
Best performance stock this year. And then 20, I left blank, but I could have put a couple companies there. I could have put, I wanted to put Qualcomm. I didn't, just because I felt like I was too heavy in the 70s.
Yeah.
It could have been Walmart in there. And it could have been MasterCard. But those are my 20. That's almost my first round.
Not Saudi Aramco. Saudi Aramco almost more valuable than our fourth and fifth biggest company.
I know, but I mean, it's number 4. But again, it's one of these companies. If people are looking to invest in, you could
domestic. Yeah. Got you.
Yeah.
Elon, I'm not mad at you because you're a MAGA poppy and you're giving that $45 million. I know you're just doing business as usual, even though your father had them diamond mines over there in South Africa. It has nothing to do with that. I still think it's an amazing company, despite your donations.
We both don't have cybersecurity in there. Did we make a mistake there?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, just checking.
Not at all.
Okay.
So Bitcoin. I mean, if we want a micro strategy,
you're adding.
We need to have a conversation about the companies that are tied to the program in perpetuity.
That's a different conversation.
Okay, Jamie's safe no matter what. Big is the what.
We didn't have JP could have been in there. We didn't.
Yeah, that was 20 for me.
Yeah, we kind of left out banks too.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the only one that matter. Lloyd Banks and Bank of America. I mean, excuse me, JP Morgan. That's it.
Shout out to all the banks out there.
Love y'all dearly. This is just Ian's views, not Troy and Rashad.
Appreciate that.
Shout out to Ally. Love y'all.
Yep.
All right. So now let's go into
shout out to our partners.
For real. This guy. Mike, edit that out.
We have before we go do this, do remember, speaking of Ally, August 4th.
Yes.
Chicago, Illinois. We will be in your area. We will be having Earn Your Masters in Chicago, August 4th. Free event, pitch competition, a chance to win $50,000, a chance to perform, and just a chance to network, meet people, and learn information. So go to our website and RSVP if you're interested in attending. RSVP space is extremely limited, so you must RSVP to be able to present for $50,000, and you must RSVP to actually attend. It's on our website, Earn Your Masters tab, Chicago, Illinois, August 4th.
Yes.
So now we're going to go into a presentation. We're going to talk about some options, stock options.
Hey.
And Troy put together a presentation. So we're going to take some time out to have a detailed education presentation about stock options.
And I think it's very fitting, Ian, that, we spoke about TSM. You had it at number 3 because last week we saw a big pullback in tech, and a lot of it had to do with semis. And so we're going to do an analysis on how to break something down to a point where you don't have to look at it as a time to panic, but a place for opportunity. So without further ado.
I love it.
All right, let's get this thing going. All right, shout out to everybody that is in EYL University. Shout out to all the earners that are in the investment club. I love it. I love the reaction that we get inside the investment club. I love all the feedback. I love all the sharing that's happening. But what I love most is that even though last week wasn't ideal, we didn't panic. And that's the message tonight. Don't panic, right? Because when there is panic, right, we don't think rational. right? We make bad decisions. But if we are understanding of how the market moves, then we know that every time that somebody gets fearful, we have an opportunity to get greedy. And so that's the focus of the night. Don't panic. All right, y'all know who that guy is. I make sure I see everybody Thursday night at 7. We're going to go over some things. We're going to talk about some new entry points for some companies. And we're going to talk some ones that we exited. I know we talked about CrowdStrike earlier, but we're going to talk how we exited, why we exited, and we're going to talk about a few other companies, but I won't give everything away tonight. So let's start this thing. All right, so like I told you, the theme is don't panic. So what happened, right? It's always important to know what happened. Sometimes we're busy in our day and we're trying to figure out, well, the market's down. Well, why was the market down? All right, so let's peel into that a little bit. All right, so last week the Dow fell, the S&P fell. Well, actually the Dow had a 1% rise, but the S&P fell and the Nasdaq fell. So we're talking about tech and we're talking about the S&P 500. So was it the terrible pullback? No, it wasn't. In fact, the S&P only dropped 2%. Right. And the NASDAQ dropped 3.6%. So there was a major drawdown in tech, not major in terms of the percentage that it pulled back, but major in terms of the companies that were affected because of the pullback. And so we saw a lot of our favorites, especially inside of the semiconductor sector, have a pullback to 10 to 15%. All right. So the AI pullback story is something that we got to be mindful of, especially when we're talking about geopolitical events that can happen. And obviously with the presidential election and the turmoil inside of that, it makes things a little bit confusing, but the market is trying to find certainty. And so you're going to start to see some ebbs and flows. And we definitely saw that last week. But again, we did not panic. So shout out to y'all. So let's go into the why. All right. So anytime we're investing, there's a couple of factors we want to look at. Right? We always want to look at trend. We want to look at volatility, but we also want to look at economic factors. We always talk about CPI or PPI, but let's talk about sometimes geopolitical factors that can play a role inside of our investing. All right. So last week, the presidential nominee for the Republican Party, Donald Trump, said that Taiwan should pay for the U.S. defense in an interview with Bloomberg Businessweek published last Tuesday. In addition, the Biden administration is considering using the most severe trade restrictions available if companies, including ASML, continue to give China access to advanced semiconductor technology. And so we talked about the U.S.-China relations. We talked about the importance and the location of Taiwan. And now we're starting to see perhaps tariffs or taxes put on this industry, right? And so if one administration is saying, hey, you've been protected for free, right? I think it's time that you start paying for security in a sense. That's going to affect the way business gets done between us and obviously a country that is super, or territory that's super important to the global economy. In addition, you have another party that's saying, okay, well, if you're going to continue to give advanced technology to other countries that we kind of don't see eye to eye with, we're going to start taxing you, right? And so now if the cost of business goes up, the cost that they're going to start charging goes up, that affects business. And so we've always mentioned geopolitical tensions as something to be mindful of when investing, especially Taiwan Semiconductor. Now, y'all know, and Ian, shout out to my brother Ian. He always talks about Taiwan. That's my company. And it's true. It's a company that I've been watching for years. It's a company that I'm invested in, right? Full disclosure. But it's important. And if you don't think it's important, well, we're going to go into the numbers of why it's important. This was published in Barron's. So why the huge emphasis on TSM? Well, let's check some of these numbers. So first number is 92%. Think about that. 92%. So Taiwan Semi makes 92% of the world's advanced semiconductors with transmitters and components smaller than 10 nanometers, according to the Semiconductor Industry Association. Korea makes up the other 8%. So you're talking about two parts of the world that make up nearly 100% of semiconductors under the parameters of 10 nanometers. So we're talking super small, which is an issue when we talked about Intel. They haven't quite developed a nanometer that can be smaller, right? Or it's taking them a longer time. And so as they take time to build, you have companies that are already doing it at a large scale and they're reaping the benefits of it. So 92% of all of the semiconductors that are under 10 nanometers are produced by Taiwan Semi. The US, right? we want to make advanced chips in this country, right? Obviously, we talked about them putting foundries here in America in detail. But here's the goal. You might not know this. The goal is to have 20% of the advanced chips made in our country by 2030. So we're 6 years away, 6 years away from having 20%. That's a huge shift, right? When we're talking about scale and we're talking about market viability, to go from 0 to 20 is large, but it talks about the emphasis that we have on advanced semiconductors. So Taiwan's doing 92%. They're building foundries in Arizona right now. That's going to cost over $40 billion. You're going to start seeing production coming from there. So they'll still have a large percentage, but the U.S. is saying rather than importing them, we can actually create them and start exporting, which changes business. Let's look at the next number, 33%. So all those chips are made for semiconductor companies that operate without their own manufacturing. So Taiwan Semi is a huge supplier to NVIDIA, to AMD, to Broadcom, to Qualcomm, and to others. So when we're talking about the companies that have pretty much dominated this year, especially NVIDIA, definitely Broadcom, there is a common theme. They are getting their chips from the same place. So that means roughly 1/3 of the four companies that we just mentioned, 1/3 of what they spend to make chips goes to Taiwan Semi. So a single supplier is amounting to 33% of the total cost of goods sold for a company that isn't typically a good sign, right? But it also talks about the sign of how critical the Taiwan Semi is, not only to the semiconductor space, but the entire global economy. So why the emphasis on it? You're starting to see some of the numbers. All right. Let's look at another number, 45%. So NVIDIA and others get their chips from Taiwan Semi and they sell them on, right? So the payments from Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, Amazon, and Tesla account for 45% of NVIDIA's total sales. So when I'm talking about a chain event, right? So imagine how important this region is, how important this company is. Not only does it affect NVIDIA, but if it affects NVIDIA, right, or affects NVIDIA, now it affects Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, Amazon, Tesla. We're talking about some of the largest market cap companies in the entire world. So Apple doesn't buy a lot of NVIDIA chips at this point, but Apple accounts for 27% of Qualcomm sales and about 70% of Broadcom's. So again, you can see how important this becomes. So what does this mean? Theoretically, if there's no Taiwan Semi, that means there's no iPhones, AI servers, and other electronics on which people have come to depend on. That's why Barron's take him called the real risk of disruption at Taiwan Semi a global depression, not a domestic depression, right? Not an international depression, a global depression. That's why we got to make sure that we cover it. So what happened over the past couple of weeks? Well, this is their chart. And if we're looking at it, I'm looking at Yahoo Finance. And for those of you who might be beginners in this space, what I have here is the yearly chart. And I've got my Bollinger Bands and I got a few moving averages. I think I used my 50 here. I got the 100 and I got the 200. And Ian, I know you're going to kill me, but don't. I still got my RSI up there, my relative strength, because I just got to check to see if the stock is being overbought or if it's being oversold. Now, how do I tell? So if the number is between 80 and 20, right? This is that median area. Anything that goes above 80, that score, that's on the bottom right, that means the stock has been overbought. If it goes under 20, that means that the stock is now being oversold. So this one's leaning toward more of the oversold, which is an indicator that, okay, this might be an opportunity to now get into this company, right? So if we look at top, it topped that at 193 and has fallen back all the way down to its moving average of about 166. I know it went up a couple dollars today, and we were thankful for that. But this is how we're looking at charts, and we can set this up inside of the classes. If you've been to some of the classes, you already know how this goes. All right, let's keep going. So we saw it go at its high of 193.47, and we saw it pull back. Don't panic. Please don't panic, because there's room for opportunity. This is when people actually now invest. When you become seasoned and you become more knowledgeable of the space, you look for these opportunities because you know there is scale on the upside if you do this at the right time. So I always get the question, when should I invest? Well, I always have this rule of thumb, especially if I'm just dealing with an equity, meaning the stock. I ask myself, has a stock pulled back 15 to 20% from its 52-week high? So you don't even have to do the math. I did it for you. TSM's 52-week high was $190.47. It opened today at $166.61. So let's just bare minimum 15%. If I multiply the 193.47 times 15%, it gets me to 28.95. I subtract the high from the percentage amount, and I get to 164.52. Now I told you it opened at 166, so it didn't quite hit the 15%. So there's a couple things that can happen here. I can say, hey, it didn't hit the 15%. I can't touch it. Or I could say, you know, it's getting close to the 15% based on the volatility that I've seen. It could go lower. And this is why when we read our charts, you have to be a disciplined investor. So you could say, all right, well, Troy, it didn't hit 15%. I'm not touching it. Maybe if it does, I'll be interested. That's fine. Because I'm looking at it as another opportunity. I'm not panicking. There's opportunity, right? So if a stock price is falling by nearly 15%, that means in the option space that the call option prices have fallen as well. And y'all know I'm always looking for the appreciating asks and bids. I'm always looking for them. Why? Because that tells me that solid companies have had a pullback. And now I have an opportunity not only to get it at a 15% discount, right? But usually when we talk about the option call prices, they usually double in depreciation. So if the stock's down 15, we're going to see the option call drop down 30, right? If we see it down 20, we're going to see the option call drop down 40. All right. So there's always opportunities, but we just have to recognize them. All right. So I know that it's had a tough week. I'm going to my options calls. I'm looking at my chains. Now, notice what date is highlighted, right? January 16, 26. Well, Troy, we're only in July of 24. Why are you looking so far out? Well, a couple of reasons, and I've explained this plenty of times. I don't have the time to be maneuvering on a day-to-day basis. So my options trades are not going to be on a weekly. They're not going to be on a monthly. They're going to be leaps that are extended. Right. And so here I'm looking out to January 26th. And now I'm looking at what possibility of a call could I get into. And so the next thing I'm looking for is something near the money. Okay. And so I know that it's trading at 168 at the time. And so the next barrier would be 170. And next, so after I look at the 170, now I look at the net change. Now the net change is going to tell me if things are moving in a positive way or a negative way. Well, if I look at this chart, which strike has the largest net change on a depreciation side? You got it. It's the one. It's the negative 83, right? Even though 180 has an interest that is huge, right? I'm looking at the depreciation from a net change, and I'm saying 170 might be a place I can look. There's depreciation happening. Let's go take a look inside of that. All right. So I go there. All right. This one actually, I'm going to bring my other screen up. Let me see if I can do that. And I'm going to add this to the stage. All right, perfect. That stage is up. And so now I can use this screen. All right, so if I'm inside of here, I'm looking at that 170 call. The first thing I have is, oh, that didn't work. Let me go back to my other screen. No problem. That's why you got to adjust on the fly. You're back up on stage. All right. So this is the underlying price for the stock. This is TSM's stock price. We talked about it hitting 193. You can see it marked here at the top of this triangle. And then you can start to see a climb going down, right? You can see it going down to about 165. And obviously today it went up a couple dollars. So now it's going to about 168. But that's fine. That's the underlying price and volatility of the stock. I'm always looking at the option, right? So let's go to the next slide. Like I told you, right? If the stock is going down 14%, look for the option call to go down even further. And so at its peak here on the 10th? Yep, the 10th of July, it was trading at 53.16, right? And so if I look where it's at now, we're about touching what, 35? All right, so we're looking at 35. Let's do the math on that. You don't even have to worry about it. I did it for you. All right. Again, we don't panic. So that January 16th, 26 call that was at $170 strike price, It once was asking for 53.16, but is now dropped to 35.05. So what does that mean? And for my beginners, I put some cliff notes in here. The January 16, 2026, that's my expiration date. My strike price is what 170 represents. But that drop in price, that price volatility, that represents a 35% depreciation on an option call. Now, I told y'all, my sweet spot is always 40%. So let's think about this. Am I going to be a disciplined investor, or am I going to say it's close enough? These are the decisions that you got to make in this space, right? So it didn't hit 15%, right? The asset didn't drop 15%. It was about 14. And now the option didn't really hit 40 yet, but it's at 35. And so I got to make a decision here. Is this something I'm going to get involved in? Even though it didn't quite hit my metrics, this is when being a disciplined investor comes into place. All right. So let me go back to that because it's important, right? And so these are the decisions that you're going to make, right? When you're looking at equities, when you're looking at options, always trying to find a depreciated one. Always try to give yourself enough time. And then you always can do some research. Research never hurts. But I talked about this in Market Mondays Live in Chicago, and I brought it up on Market Mondays during our live tapings. I said, look, I always want to use AI to my reference point. Like your AI can be your guide when you're trying to find research on a company. And so most people say, well, Troy, why do you find your information when you find information? I'm like, well, there's a couple places you can find it, but let's just start with AI, right? Rather than looking all over the place, we can go to it. And I love to use Claude, and y'all know I'm big on Anthropic. So let's just see how Claude works in real time. So I'm going to prompt it. I'm going to say, well, it's saying good afternoon, Troy. Let's start with this. So Claude, how vital is TSM? Oh, I got vital wrong. Vital is TSM to the global, let's see, economy. Let's see what Claude has to say. All right. So now it starts giving you the information. It talks about its market dominance. It talks about its advanced technology. It talks about its supply chain significance, which we kind of highlighted. It talks about its economic impact, and it talks about the geopolitical importance, right? So this is all vital information that we can just start peeling just using AI. All right, so now that I know the global impact, I want to know, does TSM, get that right, does TSM have a competitive moat? Let's see. Why is my cap lock on? All right. So I'm always looking for companies that have moats. And now it's giving me a list of 7 different moats that it has. It's technological leadership, it's scaling and capacity, it's customer relationships, it's expertise and know-how in the space for sure, it's ecosystem, it's financial strength. And then again, here comes this geopolitical positioning. And so again, these are moats. Now, let's see what else Claude can do. So is TSM a sound investment? This is important. Let's see if it answers this. I don't know. Investment in terms of the future of AI. Let's see. I'm asking it about itself. All right, so now it gives you the pros and the cons. And so now when you're looking at a company, and I'm using TSM as my example, but you can use this for any company. This is how you can use AI to your benefit, right? It can tell you this. And now you can use the technical analysis, you can use the fundamental analysis, and you can use this third piece, this AI analysis, to help you in guiding your decision when picking a company. So hopefully we see everybody in there Thursday night. And hopefully everybody's made some money. So we appreciate y'all. Let's get back to business, y'all. Peace.
All right. There you have it.
Masterful.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Voice the reason. That boy good.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
At least once a month, we try to go back to these presentations because people have asked for them. So very detailed, educational breakdown, vitally important in these uncharted territories that we're in right now. And that was just a preview. So Troy once a month does his stock option masterclass. That is part of EYL University. That's not on YouTube. It's not on Instagram. And that's over an hour where he actually, breaks down charts, companies, Q&A. It's a whole thing. And that has become extremely popular inside of EYL University. The next masterclass will be taking course Thursday.
It's Thursday, 7 o'clock.
Thursday at 7 o'clock. So what we have done in the past, what we will do today, we will be running a 48-hour sale. If you want to get in EYL University to become a member, to learn from Troy himself, hands-on education, straight information, and also be part of the community where people talk about their stock option plays with each other. It's accountability groups. It's a whole community as far as on the stock option thing has become very, very popular. And if you're doing options, you need some help, because if you're just trying to just do it yourself, then you can blow up your account. This is something that is vitally important. We are doing a sale for annual membership. The annual membership is $1,000. That's like $80 a month.
That's crazy.
$83 a month. $83 a month, right? This is vitally important. On checkout, enter code Market Mondays. One word, Market Mondays. You go to EYL University, you enter code Market Mondays, and you will receive your discount. So when you're talking about, like I said, really $83 a month, that $1,000 can be made up in one trade, right?
It will be. That's
in one trade. So if this isn't for everybody, this is for people that really want to take their trading serious to the next level, learn how to make 100% rate of return, how to make 1,000% rate of return, how to make 2,000% rate of return, but more importantly, how to actually learn the ins and outs, how to read chart, how to fish through data, how to, see if something is a good buying opportunity, all this stuff that we've been talking about. If you want hands-on learning, this is for hands-on learning. And this is the type of stuff that could really change your life when you're talking about, starting with something, a small amount of money, and really growing it to large scale. This is the steroids that allow you to actually, bulk up in the gym if you want to be Barry Bonds. So enter code Market Mondays, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a steal. That's a steal.
And I'm glad you brought up the point. Like, yes, it's hands-on and I'm in there teaching the class. But what's more important is, and equally as important, is that the people are in there all learning. Like, we got beginners, we got intermediate, we got some advanced people in there, and we're working together, they're learning together. Inside that is the community too. Like, when it's not the class, we're teaching inside there, and we're giving feedback, and we're giving live updates. And I know last week was like, hey, how's everybody feeling? And when I saw the feedback coming, how everybody's feeling, I'm like, all right, we're at a place where we need to go to the next level now, because everybody's like, I'm not panicking. We know how this works. This is why we did leaves. This is why we went out further than a month and further than 2 months. I'm like, it was like one of those moments when you're like in the education space and you're teaching. It's like the smile on your face, like, okay, we're ready. Yeah. So shout out to everybody that's in EYL University and everybody coming to the class Thursday. Don't be late, 7 o'clock.
And we will be doing something special for EYL University members at InvestFest.
Oh yeah.
So it has added perks just outside of that. So go to EYLUniversity.com, enter code Market Mondays. This next 5 years is it. This is the most important time in human history. And this is it. This is your opportunity to either hit it big or strike out.
It's over with. Inflation is going to go up. Russia's going to attack another country. 26 to 27. We got to be worried about China doing something in Taiwan for sure. So
Jim Jones said it best, man. It's going to reach a point in time where, unfortunately, if you don't got it, you ain't got it, and there's nothing else that you can do.
Yeah, we had some interesting conversations about geopolitical affairs the other night.
Shout out to the kid Esco, man. We had dinner with Nas the other day.
I'm like, wait,
Shout out to the kid Esco, man.
Some very interesting conversations, man.
Yo, Nas, man. Nas, good dude.
Can you give us a gem? What Caesar's return, Escobar season.
Shout out
Yo,
to
it's
Nas.
crazy.
And okay, one of the greatest investors of this era that no one gives him credit for.
And he has a strong team around him. More
Yep.
importantly, yeah, I mean, it's Nas, man. Like I'm sitting at dinner and he's sitting next to me.
Yeah, it wasn't just Nas though. It was some people from
Yeah.
Mass Appeal, people from Chase
The
Bank.
team.
It was pretty dope vibe. It was about 10 people. And Nas is a cool dude. But he's just really a sponge for information. Like he was just listening, giving his opinion on different things. Like we actually talked about like the dangers of tech because of what happened if it can shut down. And then the next day was when the global shutdown happened. So but one thing, you know, Nas definitely somebody who is open to information for sure. Like he's definitely like listening. He said he'd be watching us all the time. So shout out to Esco and congratulations on having the #1 album of all time. Voted by Billboard. They voted Illmatic as the #1 rap album of all time. So congratulations.
Really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was dope. At the end of it, it seems like there's never like a 1 hour conversation. It was like a 4 hour dinner. At the end of it, he was like, yo, this is why I love New York. Like you can go other places, but this is why I love New York. Get some good food, have dope conversations, have a nice drink, have some good whiskey, and then go home and wake up and try to do it again tomorrow. So shout out to Esco, man. Definitely one of the people. I told him to his face, like when I was a child, this was somebody that I looked up to. Like I got to be like that guy. So it's dope to have conversations.
A New York moment.
That's
Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Secret location.
Speaking anything of happening, Joseph Anthony Button, report on this dinner. See, I know what kind of dinner you want to go to, but most of the dinners are like this. What's happening in the next 5-6 years? Emerging technology, partnerships. Okay? Shout out to my guy, Joe.
Shout out to everybody that checked out our episode on the Joe Button podcast.
The dinner. The legendary dinner.
Oh, man.
The dinner.
Shout out to everybody that's
invites.
I got my dinner outfit.
Check your email. The dinner. The dinner.
There's an over under. They said that I'm not going to show up to this dinner. I said, I don't know anything about any dinner. I don't know anything about a dinner.
Why would you not come to dinner?
I don't know. I don't know why people think I wouldn't be at a dinner. It's good conversation, good food. I'm in for that.
No one's bigger than the program. Me and Shotty stayed in this league.
Okay.
Yes.
So what companies do you believe will perform well regardless of who's in office?
BlackRock, Vanguard, Visa, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia. Tesla will be fine, but they would do better underneath Trump. Eli Lilly and Mercado Libre, hands down. Regardless of who's in office, they are going to. Oh, and Amazon. I can't forget Amazon.
Okay. I had one more.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking Meta for sure.
Oh, of course, yeah. Shout out to Zuckerberg and the Miami Curls. Hey,
for sure.
What? Appreciate you, Zuckerberg. Shout out to HQ, man. But he played it smart by not saying who he was going to endorse his campaign to. But I'm always interested when billionaires don't speak freely because the tensions have gotten too high. But yeah, Meta's going to be. And Netflix as well. Netflix as well.
Yeah, you figure we're in a high interest rate environment right now, and these companies have still performed. They've outperformed. You think about the innovation inside of AI. Who are the companies at the forefront of it? Nvidia. Nvidia is interesting. Nvidia is interesting. I think obviously one of the greatest companies in the history of the world. But the geopolitical issues that are still out there with the company.
Safe here though.
So yeah, I still love it.
I don't think Nvidia is too.
Nvidia is safe.
Yeah, I don't think that they're too affected by geopolitical issues too much.
So
they have the program. Microsoft.
Well, here's the thing.
Vanguard.
Because even in the in the presentation, like you can see, if anything happens to TSM, they're all affected. So it's not like we can leave them out of it. Like, no. But we're talking about a global catastrophe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think they got enough cash on hand to be good. Like I said, Microsoft,
They're building the chest.
Vanguard. Yep. They got a great war chest. Go ahead, Rashad.
All right. Well, okay. Well, before we bring our guest on, I had a question. I want to talk about stocks fell last Friday and capped a terrible week for tech. We'll rebound a little bit today. Do you think the market will rebound further this week, or will we have a rough ride again this week?
I think we'll be good. The number one thing that people need to remember is that the market loves safety. Now that we kind of know what the tickets are going to be, well, at least with the Harris tickets so far, with the exception of the VP, we'll be fine. I think some of the fall was two-pronged. One, expiration for futures was coming in, so that caused some of the slide. The rumblings of what was going to happen, that got out amongst Wall Street, and they just took advantage of it. I think this week and going into next week we'll be fine. In 3 months, this week won't be an issue at all. So as long as the markets have safety and we know what climate we're going to be in, the market is going to be fine. It'll go up. CrowdStrike, maybe not so much, but the general and broad market, it'll be fine.
I'm with you. Even as bad as it felt, it was a 3.6% drawdown.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't 10%. It wasn't a COVID-like drop. CrowdStrike felt it, but the rest of the economy overall has been pretty solid. Airlines got hit, but I've told you endlessly, airlines I don't want to invest in anyway.
So, okay, what do you think about Donald Trump's plan to lower the U.S. corporate tax rate to 15% if elected?
I'm not pro-Trump, but the camera would go on me. I'm not pro-Trump, but this I would love. Can't lie. Sounds attractive. Democrats, add that to your list of talking points, please. That would be great. That would be great.
All right. Donald Trump.
15%.
Donald Trump.
This will be part of the rich get richer idea?
Project 2027.
The new project.
It's really smart to say that you're not associated with something. Going back to the program, if the program tell you this is the campaign, what we 2025, you don't have a choice but to be a part of it. I know everyone, he doesn't know, he never heard of it. Okay. That's not how politics works, but okay.
So but what do you feel like? Okay, Mike Johnson made a point where he was like, if he's not capable of running for re-election, he's not capable of running for president. He's not capable of running the country now. Like, he should step down immediately.
And then put Kamala in office and give her a running head start on how to be president?
I think that their theory is that put her in office and overwhelm her, because now she can just focus on running for president, right? Essentially, where she, you have responsibilities as the vice president, but the majority of the stuff that's on the plate is on the president's plate, right? Yeah. So now it's like it gives her an advantage, because it's like, okay, he's still going to be president. He still got to do the day-to-day, still got to communicate with Israel and Ukraine and do all of this stuff, but it allows her to really focus on her campaign. So I think they're trying to monkey wrench her campaign by saying, okay, well, if you make her president right now today, she's going to have so much to worry about being president that it'll be difficult to run for president and be president when you just became president a week ago.
I get it, but when Ronald Reagan was not a full faculty, they still let him run a country. And after a bunch of misdropped weapons of mass destruction accusations and financial collapse, they still let Bush run. I get the theory. It sounds good. It's an amazing talking point. I'm not mad on him for defending his party and going full steam ahead, but I don't think it would be as advantageous as they think it will be. Like, Democrats and Republicans, please listen up. People are not dumb anymore. We're only following the promises that you make on a campaign trail, and if you follow through with the shit that you say. You can't lie to me and spin about how great something was if people pockets are tighter than ever. I don't care about the polling stats. I love all of you that work in the political space. The people don't want to hear that shit anymore. Put it in the chat. Do you feel richer or broker in the last 4 years? That's number one. Great point. I also think the Republican Party was a little bit arrogant to pick J.D. Vance, and now you have to worry about who their chess move is going to be a VP. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easier fight when it was just Biden and Kamala. Now you always have to factor in what's the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, she go put Shell on that ticket now. Shell say, yeah.
No,
She's not
It's
getting
not
it,
going to
bro.
happen.
She's not
But
getting
you always have. Did CrowdStrike last week ever think that stock will fall that much as hot as they were the last year? Always have to have a contingency plan.
Yeah. Donnie said, look, man, he probably gonna forget that he stepped down from the campaign.
That's funny.
He's on his neck. Still.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw Mike Johnson speak first, it was like, we need to take legal action. I'm just like, wait, what? How,
Bro,
like,
that sounds good.
how does it even make sense?
Take legal action on when y'all stormed the fucking Capitol. You gonna forget about that?
Yeah.
A dude damn near died of throwing shoes at George Bush, and you had them storm the Capitol over a loss. The 81 million was a stretch, so I agree with y'all on that point. Come on, you have more votes than Obama. Not buying that one. But this is going to be a battle of who is best for the people and who actually a noble thought in business. If you promise to push out a product, you actually deliver that product or promise. So
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting though.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Oh, Zelensky, go call the CEO of CrowdStrike, because in like 8 months you're gonna feel what he feeling.
in what regard?
Did that campaign money about to dry up for you, my boy?
The Ukraine president? You don't think that he's going to still get funded?
Not as much. Not as much. Brought you exclusively.
Okay. Well, with that being said, we have our guest on the line. If we can bring her up. Hey,
Hey.
how's
Hey,
it going?
superstar.
You see, I cut all my hair off. I ain't got nothing left.
Yeah, it looks great. The purple
Look
is
good.
purple. It looks good.
Thank you. What's going on?
Everything going on.
Good. How you feeling?
You know that.
Working?
Stress, but I'm all right. I'm alive.
These are problems that we prayed for.
It's so funny that you said that, because I was talking to somebody and she was telling me about her $30,000 problems. And when I started going down my list, she was like, I would only pray for the kind of problems that you had. And it just put something into perspective. I'm like, here I am over here stressing and complaining, and I got somebody's dream. So I had to dial it back.
Great point.
That's a
Yeah,
fact.
so perspective is like the name of the game in my life.
Perspective, vitally important. So Pinky Cole, superstar entrepreneur, owner of Slutty Vegan. How many locations do you have now?
14 in total.
14 in total.
Amazing.
Somebody that has been a cultural phenomenon over the past decade, has really reshaped the landscape when it comes to entrepreneurship. She has partnerships with sneaker companies. I know you've done something in the past with what was it? It was what was the shoe company?
Steve Madden.
Steve Madden.
Mm-hmm.
You also, I recently see you kind of caused some controversy with Angela Simmons. That was an interesting collaboration.
Oreos. Ian, why you look like that?
You know, people were so upset. I'm like, the campaign was fire.
Listen,
The internet just.
Angela is a great girl, but let me tell you how the internet works. Sometimes you think something is working against you and it's actually working in your favor, because right after that, she had a meeting at the Oreos headquarters
I
to
saw
talk
that.
about potential
Oh, wow.
opportunity. So what should that tell you?
I saw that.
You know what I'm saying?
And of course, your husband is doing his thing as well. He is the owner of Big Dave's Cheesesteaks, and both of you guys will be at InvestFest. And you have something special called American Sesh.
Yes.
That's a business think tank, and you'll be bringing that live to InvestFest. So we got a lot to talk about. But first and foremost, thank you for joining us. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for being here.
Yes, of course.
So whenever we talk to entrepreneurs, I definitely want to get some entrepreneur gems. So on your road to scaling, I know that you've had a lot of ups and downs, right? So what are some lessons that you've learned because a lot of times on social media, people paint entrepreneurship as like, just flying private jets and going on vacation. But I know you've had some ups and downs. So what are some lessons that you've learned on your entrepreneurship journey that you could potentially share with the audience?
Who? What's interesting is can y'all hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, I just see me. Okay. Let me tell you something so interesting. And I want y'all to go back and go through the archive of the evolution of my interviews. And if y'all know anything about me, I don't lie about what's happening in my trajectory in business. Like, I'm always very honest about the journey. There's a lot of great things that happen, but a lot of people don't talk about in business when the not so great things happen that requires you to make hard decisions in your business. So there's a lot of things that have happened since the last time that I spoke to y'all. I've had to close some doors. So here I have this big popping brand that's super successful that everybody loves, but I got a location that nobody shows up to because it was poor site selection, right? So that's one piece of information that I really got the opportunity to learn about. Like, location is important. Like, so whoever is in the restaurant business and watching this program, like, it's not enough to just say, all right, this feel good in my spirit. Because I'm a spirit kind of entrepreneur. You really got to lock in and get the data, because the data will allow you to make sound decisions. And I always didn't move by the data. Y'all follow me?
Yep.
So that was the first big thing. So I've had to close doors. And as an entrepreneur, facing the reality that I had to close my doors for business, part of you feel like a failure. And then part of you feel like, should I be embarrassed that I had to close stores when you got Burger King, Popeyes, Red Lobster, and all of these other big brands that have been around for the test of time doing the same thing and nobody really talks about it. So navigating through that has been difficult, but also learning that it's just business and there's no emotion in business. And you got to be able to buckle down and make decisions based on the trajectory of the business so that you can continue to do the right thing. Those are kind of like the biggest things that I've learned. And I promise you, it's the Harvard of entrepreneurship. Like, money couldn't have paid for that. That is pure on experience, pure on figuring out what works, what doesn't work. Y'all got to imagine, I'm in the vegan space, so I ain't got no competitor. You understand what I'm saying? So that's a good thing, and it's a bad thing. It's a great thing because I'm leading the pack, right? I'm leading the opportunity to show people that veganism can work. It can be real. People can have it. It can be something that you eat every day. But then on the flip side, because there is no competitor really, there's no metrics. There's no comparison. Like in real estate, you see comps. But where are the comps? So I am creating the lane in real time, and I don't have anything to compare it to. So when I make decisions in the business and I come back and I'm like, oh, maybe that wasn't the best decision, it's really hard to base it off of everything. But every day is a learning opportunity for me. And I want people to see this interview and all of my other interviews and understand that, like, entrepreneurship, it is not easy. But if you utilize it as a learning opportunity every single time you show up, then you'll be a lot better off.
I mean, you're doing an amazing job. I just saw y'all at Essence, and every time I say y'all because I saw you and Derek together, and it's beautiful to watch marriage. It's beautiful to watch union. It's beautiful to watch family, and it's even better to watch it as you both are your own entrepreneurs. I wonder, because you don't have comps, how often are you looking to what he's doing in terms of scaling his business and some of the mishaps and some of the the glories that he's had? Do you say, all right, I need to incorporate? How much are y'all leaning on each other to get ideas and learn from actual business, right? You said you had to close stores. Are you now going like, hey, hon, the location is important. As you're trying to scale, these are the things. Like, how often does that conversation happen?
It happens every day. Let me tell you how much it happens. So I'm going to give you like real deal so you understand the timeline. When I got $25 million to grow and scale my business, Derek was in the middle of a $10 million deal that fell through. So here we are. We both have these popular companies. We're making the same amount of money. I just had more locations than him, but I was profitable at the time and he wasn't. So he had to sit in the shadows and in the background, not by choice, but just by way of virtue. And he watched my business grow in the trajectory of my business. But then he also watched the mistakes that I made along the way. Because when you think about high level, I didn't always hire the right people. I didn't always put the right people in place. I didn't always pick the best site selection. So he got the opportunity to learn what not to do or what to do when he started, growing his business and scaling his business. So now Derek is in a really ripe space in his business. It's growing. He almost had 30 franchises that he sold. His company is profitable. He's completely turned the business around. So he is in a really right space. So here I am. I'm like, all right, make sure you do. Like, I'm the coach. Like, when Javante in the ring, I'm the coach. I'm like, all right, make sure you do this. Don't do this. And sometimes he doesn't like when I do it, but he knows that it's necessary because I'm like, I've been there, done that. Like, don't make the same mistakes that I did. And if you choose to, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen on the other side. But at the end of the day, I am like his encyclopedia because he can refer back to the comp. And the comp is me and all the things that I'm going through. But I'm proud of him. I think that it's overdue for him to now get his time. He should have been got it when I got mine back in when I raised my money and was able to scale my company really fast. But society has a funny way of making certain decisions, right? And here we are now. He's in a great position, and I'm excited about his business. And I'm claiming that it's going to grow to over $100 million brand, like I know it to be.
I love it. You guys have an incredibly popular brand, social media sensation. The people love you. What are like 3 to 5 marketing ideas that have had the biggest impact on your business personally that allowed you to scale?
Okay, so the biggest one, and I got my kids in the background, y'all. Real entrepreneur here.
Real mom.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Okay, we got 5 kids. It's a lot. Okay, so one of the biggest things, we live in trend culture. So how I grew Slutty Vegan is I said, if I can get celebrities to naturally endorse the brand, they ain't even got to post me on their page. All I got to do is get that footage, that content, because guess what that is? It's currency. And if I can get that level of currency, then I can bring it over to my level of real estate and post it on my page. And then everybody going to say, oh my goodness, you got Denzel Washington and East Slutty Vegan. I know I got to try it now, because if Denzel Washington, this man of this high caliber that has built a career upon acting and is revered around the world, loves a brand like this, why don't I love the brand like that? So I got to see what it's about. I got to go check the hype out. And because I've been able to do that, I've naturally had celebrities want to be a part of the brand, want to endorse it. And as a result of it, it's natural marketing. So I have this philosophy that every single person that sees or feels your brand will tell 5 people, whether they had a good or bad experience. So for example, if they come through my doors and the food was fantastic, they're going to tell at least 5 people. And then those 5 people, they're going to tell at least 3 more people. And then those 3 people are going to tell at least 3 more people. And then the chain will continue to link. And I've been able to build a word of mouth business by way of the celebrities who try the food and the word of mouth. So those are kind of like the 2 biggest things. The third thing I would say is I do 3 things on my social media. I make people laugh, I make them proud, and I give them information. Right. Mm. So if I can make you laugh, the world is hard enough. Like, yes. We all going through stuff. But if I can make you laugh and not think about the day, then check mark, I've done something right. If I make you proud, I'm a Black woman-owned, minority-owned business that has started a business from the ground up that is helping people to reimagine food in another way. Right. And you can look at my video and my content and say, you know, I'm so proud of that woman. I'm so proud of the community that she's serving. The fact that she's giving people opportunity. I am proud of her. Right. Then more people will start to tap in because people want to be connected to things that they can be proud of. And then lastly, giving them information. People always love information. The more you tell, the more transparent you are, the more they feel like they're dialed in. And when they're dialed in, then they're going to support you until the wheels fall off. So you said 5, but those are kind of like the top things, the celebrity, making sure that you're engaging with your audience and doing whatever is required so that people can have a word of mouth on your business and it'll drive traffic through your doors.
So I want to talk about you when you raised 25 million. I remember that was a few years ago. I think that was what values your company at $100 million, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So talk about that. A lot of people see the headline like Slutty Vegan has $100 million valuation, right? But talk about the process of actually raising that money. When you got the money, what was the first thing you did with the money? Were you beholden? Did you have to answer to other people to make sure that you was doing the right thing with the money? Like looking back on in hindsight, how was that experience of actually getting that 25 million?
The experience of getting $25 million. So when I first got the money, y'all, I cried. You never know what you're going to do when you get that much money. I cried. I cried because, you know, it's one thing to put pressure on myself because this is my business and I don't owe any, like it's my equity. It's mine, me, my. But when you take money from a strategic investor, it's no longer just me, my, it's ours. Yeah. So I'm not just answering for myself. I'm answering for the people who believed in me to invest this level of capital to help me grow and scale my company. So that's a different kind of pressure. If anybody that's watching this, if you've never raised $25 million or anything remotely close, it is a different kind of pressure because people are counting on you. So what happens if people can't count on you no more? That really gets tough. So when I got the money, I was a bit overwhelmed because you could either do great things with the money or you could fumble the ball. And here I am, I'm a Black woman, and not many Black women get this level of capital. So it ain't just Pinky that just got $25 million. It's every single Black woman entrepreneur, every Black entrepreneur, every minority entrepreneur. You understand what I'm saying? So like, it's not just about me. When I go in these rooms now, it's not just, oh, Pinky is in the room. No, that's a Black person in the room. And if I fumble the ball, then it affects all of us because the way that the world works, the reality of it is sometimes we get grouped together. So I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And I'm telling you that because 90% of what we said we were going to do with the money we did. Right? We opened up locations, we paid off debt, we did all of the things, but you never realize how fast $25 million can go when you're building and you're scaling and you're growing businesses. So if I could do anything different, would I change anything? No. However, what I would make sure is I would make sure my advice to anybody who is about to get a level of investment, you need to go, and somebody should create this. You need to go through a program where you sit down with strategic advisors, you sit down with financial advisors so they can really make the money work for you. Because actually, I take that back. If I could go back, I would alter something. What I would do is I would make sure that all of that money would go into a fund that is accruing interest and we could grow the business off of interest based on that hard money. But again, right? It took for me to have this level of real-time experience to learn. But if you do get a lump sum of money in that kind of way, you can put it in an account where you can live off the interest. You can open up stores off the interest. You can pay your payroll off the interest. You can put it in treasury accounts, which I did, right? And you can utilize that interest to make the money that you need to continue to grow the business so that you don't run through cash so fast.
So when they gave you the 25, they just gave you a check for $25 million and like, do your thing?
Yeah. And we did. We did our thing.
Do your thing, girl.
We did our thing. But what I'm saying to you is doing your thing means a lot. Doing my thing ain't necessarily doing my investor's thing. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So if I had to do this all over again, I would make sure that I'm being super intentional on the who, what, when, where, and why. Luckily for me, I've been blessed with the best investors in the world. So Richie Lou Dennis from New Voices is my lead investor. And then EHI, Enlightened Hospitality Group, that's Danny Meyer, who created Shake Shack. So like, it don't get no better than that. Like God really just blessed me on that opportunity because I can pick up the phone and any relationship that I want to have is a phone call away. So it's also very important to be mindful of who you decide to take money from. But I'm glad that the 25 million allowed me to propel my business to now being a household name, from covers of magazines to being in Target stores and getting picked up in Walmart. We're going into Walmart week 37 to being able to open up more locations, to be able to have brand partnership deals. So the opportunities are continuing to roll, but it's a result of the level of investment that the investor said, you know what, I'm gonna give you this money so you can grow this brand.
So you said you did 90% of the things that you wanted to do, which leaves the door open for the 10% that still hasn't been done. Talk about that, because as you're scaling, you're also diversifying, whether it's, on your personal level, you're doing real estate. I know Bar Vegan has had some of the change. We got live events happening there, live music happening in there. So talk about that balance as you're growing and scaling, you're also diversifying and accomplishing that 10% that we still want to get done.
It's interesting because I am diversifying, but right now I'm trying to undiversify. What they don't tell you is that when you start to grow this business, then we want to do all of these things. And I mean, we all creatives on the phone, let's be honest, right? Like we got this thing that's the bread and butter, and then we want to go off and do this and movies and television and blah, 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 blah. And all these things are great. But the reality of it is you cannot serve two masters. right?
Yeah.
So it's important to make sure that home is always good, because home will always make room for other things. So when I created Bar Vegan, that was really just a concept that was like overnight, oh, this is a multi-million-dollar company too. Who would have thought? And I came up with this concept, and I made like $5 million the first year in that one location. So I'm like, oh, this is a real business. And this is separate and aside from Slutty Vegan. So I'm like, okay, this is great. So then I just recently, I did a soft opening for my next Bar Vegan that's opening in next week. But Bar Vegan and Slutty Vegan are kind of like my bread and butter right now. Before, I wanted to do like a Slutty Vegan record label, and I wanted to do all these things. But then I had to have a conversation with myself as an entrepreneur that, guess what? When I get Slutty Vegan to where I want it to be, whether I decide to go public, whether I decide to sell, whatever decision I make on the business, that'll make room for me to do all the other things that I want to do. But I have to make sure that this is sound. I got to make sure that this continues to make the money. I have to make sure that this brand continues to grow, because this brand is going to set me up for everything else that I want to do in my life.
Why do you think as entrepreneurs it's so hard to focus on one or two major endeavors, and then also on the capital raise side, hindsight being 2020, would you have tried to raise more than the 25 million, or do you think that was a sweet spot that you needed for that time?
That was a sweet spot. That was a good amount to get rid of debt, to do everything that I needed to do. And I'm about to go out and raise at the end of the year so that we can continue to scale, right? So we can continue to open up stores. You know, when I started scaling the company initially, this was right in the height of the pandemic, supply chain, inflation, all the surges. So what would cost me $500,000 to open up a Slutty Vegan cost me $1 million to open up one Slutty Vegan. So the pandemic also played a part in driving more revenue, but it also cost me more to get that revenue. So as I navigate as an entrepreneur and in business and all of these things, I could write a book on this. Like I could really write a book on entrepreneurship and like navigating through the highs and lows. And let's not talk about getting sued, because that's a part of it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, but navigating through all of those things have allowed me to really like get level headed. Like, okay, let me focus on what is working. What is working is I have a very solid brand that people love and respect, that has a great reputation. As long as I continue to make this grow and make this thing excellent, then it will do all the things that I want it to do.
So let's talk about InvestFest, the crown jewel that is headed back to Atlanta at the end of the month, and you're doing American Sesh. So first, can you just explain the concept of American Sesh, how it came about, and talk about what you have planned for InvestFest?
Well, this is actually a good conversation to have, because y'all actually sat at the table. So
Yes.
I was in Turks and Caicos, me and Derek, and there was some medicinal marijuana involved. Okay.
Allegedly.
Medical purposes only. Medical purposes only.
And listen, and I was sitting there and I'm like, yo, like, and I always did this where I used to go on live all the time. And I used to sit on this blue couch that I had. And on this blue couch, I came up with Slutty Vegan. I came up with Bar Vegan. I came up with a whole bunch of ideas. All of my biggest ideas came from this blue couch. And I'm like, what is the symbolism behind this couch? So when we were in Turks and Caicos, I'm like, I want to come up with something called the Sesh. The Sesh is short for session, right? But obviously we're going to make this a non-smoking event. So we're going to call this the Sesh. But I'm like, all right, Sesh ain't strong enough. I need something to add to it. American Sesh. So when you think about the American dream, by society standard, the American dream is a white picket fence and a dog and a family. But that ain't my American dream. My American dream is to travel the world with my family and be filthy rich and providing opportunities for entrepreneurs and doing my philanthropic efforts, maybe open a couple of schools and like really be great in the world and impactful. And your experience with your American dream may be totally different from mine. So what I wanted to create is a place where people from all different socioeconomic backgrounds can come together to do one thing, and that's build. So I don't care if you got 100 million followers, if you got 30 million in the bank, or if you got $5 in the bank. This is a place where we focus on collaborative innovation, because the reality of it is I had Jeezy at the table Jeezy probably would have never sat at a table with somebody that's still trying to figure it out or on a verge of getting evicted. Possibly not. But I put them at the table, and it didn't matter what they come from. It didn't matter who they were. At the end of the day, we're talking about this and how to progress our ideas forward by way of using the most important vessel, and that's our brain space. So far we've done 39 episodes, and Troy and Rochelle, y'all came on very early. So that was the foundation. That was the bones. So there's been a lot of evolution to it. Now it's a live experience. So what we do is a part of it is a game. And then we find people in the audience in real time to pour into by way of resources, finances, ideas, connections. And when I tell you, it's one of the biggest underground movements that has no marketing. It's invite only, and everybody wants to be a part of it because this is no gatekeeping here. This is not like, all right, you got to pay $5,000 to come and get the information, and for another $2,000. This ain't that. You can come, and it's like entrepreneurial church, and people are tapping into it, and we're about to go on a roll with it. And I'm just excited about creating yet another experience that I can add to my portfolio of creative genius.
That was definitely an experience. And every time I look at the preview for it, I see our episode inside the clip. So we appreciate that. Like you said, you American Sesh will be at InvestFest, but Slutty Vegan will also be appearing at InvestFest. Shout out to you. Yeah. I know we brought up the Angela Simmons thing, but in conversations that we had, it was always something that you were looking for to add to Slutty Vegan. Like, yo, Troy, I got this dessert idea. What's up? Do you know anybody in desserts? And so when I saw the Angela Simmons thing, I'm like, oh, perfect, you found one. I wonder now, are you looking for things still to add to it? Right? Like, is breakfast part of it? Like, what are some of the things that Slutty Vegan is like, you know what, if we could add this to it, we could take it to another level?
You know, we tried breakfast. Breakfast didn't work.
Really?
It did not work. And I was actually so surprised because I just knew that people were going to go crazy over Slutty Vegan breakfast. But what I realized is Slutty Vegan wants Slutty Vegan burgers. That's all they want. They want burgers and fries. They want sloppy burgers and fries. That's all they want. They don't even want salad. We tried salad. People didn't buy the salad. Like, they want burgers and fries. So as an entrepreneur, I got to give the people what they want, right? I got to make it make sense to give the people what they want. But what I'm interested in doing now is I'm getting into the licensing world. And I want to license Slutty Vegan out to experienced operators so that I can focus on being a brand management company. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Like, focusing on naming the brand partnerships, and give it to operators who want to be operators. The reality of it is the most creative geniuses in the world, that they are not like the business wear a suit professional. That's just not who we are. We're not wired like that. And I don't know if that's the same for y'all, but like, I like to think of big ideas. I like to bring people together. I don't want to be an operator for the rest of my life, but I know I got a great operation. So the idea here is to license out Slutty Vegan to operators so that they can continue to grow the brand, and I can continue to focus on the core, and that's building a Slutty Vegan brand that people recognize and people can be proud of. And then the other thing is I want to do a raw vegan restaurant. So I haven't eaten cooked food since December. I've been raw vegan. You know, I had 3 kids, 3 under 3. So I had
God bless.
I know, right? I had a baby in 21, I had a baby in 22, and I had a baby in 23.
Oh, you're a legend.
Yeah, I don't know how I did it. But the day that I gave birth, I said, you know what? I'm going to go raw vegan. So I've been raw vegan, and shout out to Crystal Shea Raw, who's my chef. And I realized, I'm like, damn, like, I've gotten people to understand that I can meet you where you are with burgers and fries. And then I created Bar Vegan, and that's bar food. And now I'm like, ding, 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 ding. Why don't I do raw vegan food, but still be under the vegan umbrella? Because they don't have anything. Well, they do in Atlanta, but not many. But that'll probably be the next thing that I want to like tap into under the Slutty Vegan umbrella. But other than that, like we got the desserts down pat. Like, we got the best desserts, vegan or not, like hands down. Angela's Cakes is amazing, and I'm so proud of her and how she really like. We talked, I gave her the idea. She like, I love it. And she ran with it. Like, so all of that is her doing. And like, she's just amazing. I love her. And I can't wait till she realizes the true flowers that she deserves. But like, there's some great things coming for Slutty Vegan. Yeah.
If we were to have a mini session right now, or sesh, what are like 3 mistakes that you see a lot of entrepreneurs make that prevent them from scaling to building the business of their dreams?
Not willing to give up equity.
Say it again.
not willing to give up equity. Before, again, it used to be me, myself, and I'm not sharing, and this is my business. But guess what? 10% of a watermelon is better than 0% of a grape. And I realized that I can go stronger together. So my thought process is different now. Like now when I see other vegan businesses, I'm like, well, how can we come together? Let me acquire your business and I'll give you equity in Slutty Vegan. So now I get to monopolize, you get to have a piece of the pie in a bigger conglomerate, and then everybody wins. So I think one of the problems that a lot of entrepreneurs face is they create this company and they're like, no, I don't want to let it go. And I'm like, one thing somebody told me, I was a nominee. I became a finalist for Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but
that's amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Very big deal. And fortunate enough to even be just in that conversation with like billionaires. So I made it as a finalist. I made it to the second to last round. So when I was there, one of the finalists, he said to me, he said, you should never, if I could give you one piece of advice, you should never be emotional in business. And I'm like, well, I love Slutty Vegan. Like, I love my brand. Like, and here I am, right? And I do love my brand. But he said, you will not go far if your emotions are connected to business. You got to keep it strictly business. And as you grow and scale, you got to make sure that it's all business, because one day you may sell or one day you may go public. The idea here is not for you necessarily. And these are his words, right? His thought process was the idea is not for you to hold on to the business forever, right? You build something special. You either sell or you go public, and then you create generational wealth so that you can be able to open up other opportunities. That is what everybody else does. And I'm like, what rock have I been under? Now, this is different for the people who want to keep their business generationally through their family. That's a whole nother story. I'm not talking to y'all. But as you think about founders who blood, sweat, and tears in their business, like you got to figure out what is the plan? What is the exit plan, if any? And I think that enough of us don't think about that enough. And I want to encourage people without it feeling taboo. You know, when Black people start talking about exiting and selling and all that stuff, like you get shunned upon, but like, these are conversations that are happening in other communities. Why can't we have them? So those freely, freely without being judged. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I would tell entrepreneurs is like, make sure that you have the plan in place and what that plan looks like for you and your family. Very, very, very important.
Well, Pinky, it's always a pleasure. I look forward. Before we leave, can you just share, because you've been at InvestFest, you was at the first InvestFest you spoke. Last year, you was at InvestFest as an attendee. To watch Derek, he was at our VIP night. This year, you're coming back and you're actually activating. So, and you have your food truck this year. You've been at InvestFest over the years, and you've seen the different aspects of it, and you've seen it from different angles. So, just speak on, your thought process on it, and how you've actually been able to look at it from the outside in.
Well, first of all, I'm very proud of y'all. I've watched this thing grow from a small community to like one of the biggest events in Atlanta every year. And I'm excited to be connected to that level of greatness. So, I talk about like the peers, it's like a class, right? So we are in the same class, and I'm happy to be in that class with y'all. So I'm proud of y'all. I have experienced InvestFest in two different ways, as an attendee and as a participant. What I admire about InvestFest is everybody that comes there is hungry, right? The level of hunger that you feel in the atmosphere tells you that like we all out here trying to get it, right? And I think that is a great opportunity to continue to capitalize off of it, not with money, but by way of community to people who really want to be in your hemisphere. What I will also say is that y'all really have a big opportunity to continue to bridge the gap of people. As I elevate in business, what I realize is it is important for me to merge all people from all different walks of life. And I like that you don't just got to be Black to come to InvestFest. You Black, white, Asian, whoever you are, there's a space for you. And now you're creating something that's a universal brand that everybody can see themselves in. I appreciate that, because I want Slutty Vegan to be in China. I want Slutty Vegan to be in Asia and India, and I want to be able to connect with people who have had different socioeconomic experiences. And in order to do that, you got to come to places like InvestFest to get that information. And I'm happy that you all do that. So more of that. What I will suggest is I think that there is an opportunity for y'all to capture the younger audience and do like InvestFest Kids, because it's TikTok age that we live in, right? And there's so many young entrepreneurs right now that really don't have a safe space or avenue to be able to learn, to build, to grow. So imagine in the spring, if y'all do InvestFest Kids and it becomes a 2-day conference and you bring kid entrepreneurs from around the world and you identify the kid entrepreneurs that are like at the top of the food chain to do workshops, to do breakout sessions. And it's like for kids by kids. You know, there are teen hosts in Atlanta that can host it. You know what I'm saying? And like y'all do the same model that you do for the adults, but you raise them up young, because what we realize is the future of entrepreneurship is not in the adults. It's in the teenagers that want to start doing something fresh. So that's the only thing that I would offer to y'all. And I would love to be a part of that if y'all do that.
Me too. Meant to include me.
This is a Market Monday sesh.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
Sesh.
Thank you.
American Sesh. Pinky, always a pleasure. Thank you. Keep inspiring.
You're amazing.
You guys are amazing. And I'm definitely looking forward to, build with you. But like I said, it's just been very encouraging to watch your journey over the years. So keep up the great work.
Yes.
So proud of you.
We will be in Atlanta, so I'll be getting my fussy hussy. So don't worry, I'm supporting that all
Big
time.
facts.
I'll see y'all soon. Keep up the good.
All right.
See.
Okay. Pinky,
Amazing conversation.
A legend in the game. Get your
An absolute legend.
to InvestFest. This is somebody who is one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our generation, just an extremely bright person. These are the type of energy that you need to be around on a consistent basis to sharpen your sword. So American Sesh, she picks people out of the crowd. So you actually have an opportunity to come from out of the crowd, get on stage, build with her, pitch your idea, and give feedback in real time. I mean, that's kind of priceless. Yeah. So it's a lot of give back this year. We got pitch competitions, we got American Sesh, we got all kinds of different stuff. So, man, this is the one. This is the one. But without further ado, you about to say something?
Yeah, I'm saying even for like what she's doing with the American Sesh, if they paid a consultant, what would they have to pay for a year to get that kind of information?
A fact.
In real time.
That's a fact. And she's the type of, like, she just like she came with that idea for us. Like, she comes up with ideas in real time, and that's the kind of person that she is. She's very creative.
Yeah, so if they said that they did 39 episodes, that's 39 episodes of just ideas that are coming from the top of her head, and then it's a group of people that are coming together with the ideas. But now, how do we formulate them? It's an experience, man. So everybody that's going to see it live, y'all in for a treat.
If you add InvestFest, you should go to American Sesh because
sure.
You get to learn too. You get to learn from other people. So it's like she's going to pick people out the stage, right? She out the crowd to put them on stage, and she's going to learn about their business. She's going to give them ideas, her and Derek. But in that, you're going to be able to say, like, damn, that's a good idea. I could actually implement in my business.
I can implement. Yep.
It's wrong. So it's like, it's a real, and it's fun. They've gamified the process to make it an education game type. It's a whole vibe. So you should definitely come if it's on your itinerary.
Circle that.
Come, put it on your itinerary.
Be there.
Circle that.
All right. Without further ado, let's bring our surprise guest on, shall we? Oh, there he goes.
Oh my God.
Ish.
Finally. My brother is here.
Couldn't happen. They said it wouldn't happen.
Yes.
What's going on?
But here he is.
Ish
I appreciate you.
in the building. Ish.
These are nice cabinets. You put them up yourself or what?
Yeah,
The cabinets he was working on.
Don't start. Did not start. Yeah.
What's that, mahogany? Egyptian mahogany? What you got?
Man. What's going on? Yo, I don't have a haircut. Yo, listen, I don't have a haircut. Y'all got me.
Good.
This love right here.
This
is definitely love right here.
From Joe Budden podcast fame, people know you as a personality, but they may not know, if they're just casual Joe Budden fans, they may not know that you actually are in real estate, right? You're a contractor.
I own a construction company.
You own a construction company, real estate investor, and somebody that has not agreed with some of my takes when it comes to real estate, but that's neither here nor there. But
we'll talk about it there.
I know it was something sarcastic. It froze up. I couldn't even hear it.
That ish.
But first and foremost, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
All right, so let's get into this, man. How did you get? I think it's interesting to get your backstory, because people, like I said, they see you, they hear you chime in on different topics, but I've never personally heard your backstory before. How did you how did you even get into real estate, and how did you actually get into the world of media, speaking on one of the most popular podcasts in the world?
Two separate questions. The first one, well, the second one is the easiest. So the media thing with the Joe Budden podcast, Joe is my friend, like my personal friend. And so Joe had been trying to get me to do my own podcast for 6-7 years, something like that. I really don't like the entertainment business. I think it's dog eat dog. And so I was apprehensive with regards to just, going down the road to the entertainment business. I've seen, and we still continue to see, just the griminess that takes place. And I just really didn't want to get involved with that. You know what I'm saying? So what happened on the Joe Budden podcast, as we all know, they went through a breakup and some turmoil. And I just so happened to be at his house one day. There's a literal story. We play Monopoly for money. You know what I'm saying? Just come.
Yep.
He's like, no, seriously. All right, I'm gonna come. He's like, you come tomorrow? And I'm like, no, man, I can't come tomorrow. Like, I work for a living. He's like, nah, I need you. Rory and Mom going through some stuff with them, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, word? And I'm like, all right, cool. So when I got there, it was supposed to be a temporary thing. And, the rest is history. Basically, it came out to being a permanent thing. They never reconciled whatever their differences were. And the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? From that particular regard. With regards to real estate, I worked in corporate like everybody else. I worked in finance in corporate. And then my dream was to be in the stock market. And I had gotten hired by American Express Financial Advisors before. Like, that was the road I was going down, Series 7, the whole 9 yards. And I had gone, I was up one night. It was like 3 a.m. And one of the seminar pitches came across the TV. And I signed up for that. It was a real estate seminar. I signed up for that. Russ Whitney. I don't know if we're giving shout outs, but I think he's gone now, but Russ Whitney. And I signed up for it. I went to the 7-day boot camp. It was just a wealth of information that this was 20 years ago. Some of the stuff I learned in that boot camp, seasoned investors and realtors don't know to this day. So that's really where I got my start at in the real estate investment field. My uncle was a contractor, so I'd already been around construction and all of that stuff. And so, the two they just was a synergy and it just merged.
In terms, like, you created a construction company. So this is interesting because
from the
ground up. And I'm building a house, and a lot of people out there have gone through dealing with contractors. What's your advice in finding a good contractor? Because everybody just says, nah, they're all the same. They're all kind of
referrals.
Talk about how we identify them, though. Like, how do we identify a good contractor?
The construction game is a scary one. It's like an attorney, it's like a doctor, it's like a mechanic. Most people just don't have common knowledge about construction. Most people don't have common knowledge about law or even a mechanic, right? So your contractor could tell you something and they could be lying. It's a grimy game. Again, it's dog eat dog. Referrals, people that you personally respect, people whose intelligence level you admire, and have them refer somebody to you. Now, it still may not work out, but I think that's a good starting point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's a good starting point. If you value somebody that goes out to eat a lot and they're like, yo, recommend me a good Thai restaurant, and they say, go to this place, at least it came with a stamp or a cosign from somebody that you revere and that you respect. You know what I'm saying? A cleaners, whatever the case may be. If you move to Miami tomorrow and y'all need a good dry cleaners, I'm going to go ask my friends. You know what I'm saying? Where do you get your clothes cleaned? And that's where I would start. That's where my starting point would be. Again, it's no guarantee that it'll work out, but that is definitely where I would start.
Amazing dad, amazing entrepreneur, amazing broadcaster. Why you ain't help my boy Shotty with his water basin?
He never called me.
My man gotta call you for the help.
How would I know what's going on with his water basin if he don't pick up the phone and say, yo, I need some help?
We talked about it on Blackout. You saw the clip. And then you didn't like his real estate take. And then did you call him there? Okay, real question. You might
The mahogany cabinets.
Okay. Real question. If you're a beginning investor, you want to invest in real estate, what's your framework for what to look for in a property or multifamily to invest in?
A lot of this stuff is regional, so the advice would be regional.
Okay.
If you are serious, like if you are a real serious wannabe real estate investor, it's a few things that you have to first be in a mindset to be an investor. So stay away from the cars. Like I see a lot of people, we hear all the stuff about, I had a 780 credit score and I made $150,000 and I couldn't secure a mortgage. It's racism. And it's like, nah, it's not racism. You spend too much money. You might make 250, you might make 300, but your bills are up here.
That's the income.
You know what I'm saying? Like You got 2 Benzes, you got a G-Wagon, your wife got a car, like all of those things. When you want to be a real investor, in my opinion, real estate investing is not hard. The concepts are simple. You know what the hard part is? Most of us are not disciplined. When you really want to start saving money, most of us can't. We can't stop going on vacation. We can't stop buying frivolous things. We can't stop buying depreciating assets. And so that it's a counterproductive thing when you really want to be an investor. Like we'll go buy a car 6 months before you're trying to buy a house. It doesn't make sense. It messes up your ratios. It's just a bunch of things. But as I was saying, it's regional. Real estate is regional. So if I was a beginning real estate investor, or if I could advise somebody, I live in New Jersey. We all are, Shadi and Troy, we're all from the tri-state. I would advise anybody to start in the multifamilies. The multifamilies are great with leveraging expenses. So if you have a 4-family, let's just hypothetically give an example. You could buy a 4-family for $1 million. You get 3 rents. You get what I'm saying? So, and what the mortgage companies will do is they'll take those 3 rents that you are going to acquire once you purchase the property. They add that to whatever your current salary is, and they combine them. And that is what they get to qualify you. So if you have $1 million property and you're getting $4,000 a month, right? That's 12 grand. They take 80% of that, they add that to your salary, and they use that to qualify you. But in many instances, when you pick up that piece of property, you can live in that 4th unit rent free. You know what I'm saying? Like the contingent upon what the rents are, the real estate investor, you make, 80, 90 grand, 100 grand. Go find a multifamily. What happens is our egos start to get into play. Like I've had people say, I don't want to live with anybody. And it's like, you live with people now. You live in an apartment now. Yeah. It's somebody right next door to you. It's somebody above you. It's somebody below you. So you're already living in somebody else's property now. Why not live in your own? Why not reap the tax benefits from the depreciation and the rental real estate stuff that you're going to acquire that you don't get now? Uncle Sam is kicking your ass. You're an RN. You're doing mad overtime. Uncle Sam is taking all your money. A lot of that stuff is mental when it comes to investing in real estate. You got to change your mindset and say, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to be an investor. I'm going to get a 4-family. I'll live in it for a year. I'll take advantage of my FHA benefits where I only got to put 3.5% down as opposed to the 20. And then next year I could use my FHA again and go maybe get a single family or get a duplex. You know what I'm saying? Like there are things that you could take advantage of that are just offered out here that most people don't know. You got to learn to educate yourself too, but ask people. I think that, especially with what you guys are doing, what some of the other people are doing in the space, knowledge that I didn't have 20 years ago is everywhere. Absolutely. Like when I started 20 years ago, dog, I was reading everything on Google. You know what I'm saying? I was getting all my information from Google. And that's how I started jumping off the ledge with no parachute, just, learning on your way down.
So I've always heard that, contractors use money from new jobs to pay for old jobs, right? And so I'm interested to hear from a contractor, his perspective on that. And then also, what is recommended deposit amounts that you should give to a contract. I've also been educated that you should never give a contract the full amount. You pay in stages, or is it like you pay 10%, you pay when it's completed? How do you go about actually, doing that?
It depends on the scale of the job, right? Or the scale, the scope of the project. So New Jersey state laws, a contractor cannot demand more than a third by law. Now, if you agree to, hey, I need 50% down, and it's okay with you, then that's fine. Like, the terms are the terms. Whatever we agree upon contractually are the terms. But I recommend never giving anybody all of the money. You need to have leverage. So if I'm going to build a house for Shadi and he gives me 80% of the money, what leverage do you now have? You get what I'm saying? Like, I got 80% of the bread. I could run off. Sue me. I could pull a Donald Trump. Sue me.
Okay, Caesar.
What I'm saying is, you literally have no leverage once you give somebody the lion's share of the money.
Yeah.
What ensures that you're going to get the work done?
But the thing that we're doing is construction loan, and they have a draw sheet. So it's like, okay, the flooring is 20,000, and then the inspector comes. They have to make sure the flooring was done correctly. Then they get paid. And then the sink is 10,000. They have to make sure the sink. So it's like 18 different things that have to be put in place.
Percentage of completion.
Yeah. So that's done because the bank, but that's probably good. Even if you're not using bank money, you can still probably use that same thing, right? Like a schedule of things that have to be done. And then as each one gets done, then you get paid. The problem is that a lot of contractors want to get paid before they do the work, not after the work is completed.
So if, again, it's let's say hypothetically, I come out and I do your project, right? It's electrical, it's plumbing, it's framing, it's roofing, it's siding, it's many different moving parts all at one time. So I might ask, let's say the project is 300 grand, just for round numbers. I might ask you for, especially if I'm responsible for buying material, that's a thing too. If you're responsible for buying material, then the contractor has to also maintain a certain level of leverage and protection for himself. I'm not going to just go out and buy $20,000 worth of material, start this work out of my pocket, because there's just as many contractors that steal money. There's as many homeowners that steal money. You get what I'm saying? Like, people owe me money to this day that I doubt I'll ever get. So it just has to be a rapport. If I'm doing a job for you and it's 300 grand, I'm not going to ask you for 300 grand. I just think that's asinine. But I might ask you for 60, right? I might ask you for 70 grand. And then you'll see me working. You'll see me working. And then also, if you're building a house, or if you own a house and you're renovating a house, start familiarizing yourself with some of the terms. Start familiarizing yourself with some of the materials. Designing a house is fun. It's dope. So you and your wife might stay in Home Depot picking out this, picking out that, picking out this. You start to see, okay, this tile right here is $3 a square. It's $17 a square foot. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times homeowners might want the best stuff. That's not in your budget. That's not in your budget. So, like when I write out a contract, my contracts is 5 to 6 pages long. A lot of contractors I see might be for 300 grand. It'll say flooring, $27,000. You haven't described what type of flooring. Is it 3/4 hardwood? Is it luxury vinyl tile? Is it, you get what I'm saying? So all of those things are needed in a contract. Like, because somebody could say flooring, you signed here, flooring, 27 grand. They didn't specify what type of flooring. They didn't say this. They didn't say that. You know what I'm saying? So I'll put a cap on a tile amounts. I put a cap on certain stuff. Anything that is over $7 a square foot, you got to pay out of pocket. I'm not going to buy $20 a square foot tile for you, and then I don't make any money off your bathroom. That's not going to happen. You get what I'm saying? So the particulars need to be kind of ironed out. And if you're new to this, you may not have much experience in ironing out the particulars, but you got to start reading. You got to start asking questions. A lot of this stuff is scary. So I think educating yourself is paramount, because you may not know what you're doing, but get as much education from Google, get as much education now from these websites as possible. It'll walk you through some of the unanswered questions.
Yeah, I think that advice you just gave is really, really spot on, right? Especially when these draw schedules, like you said, that's a prime example. Somebody will tell you it's 27,000 for flooring. They didn't even tell you, like, yo, your house is 4,000 square feet. You're gonna have like 3-inch like slabs, and it's gonna be like hardwood. When you, in your mind, you thought that you was getting engineered wood, right? Or, you know what I mean? Like, so now that's an added expense that you didn't think that you were going to have, but now you have to come out of pocket for. So I think before you even do anything, especially when the house and you have a draw schedule, make sure you itemize it, go through it, and make sure that it meets your expectations. Because you might say like, hey, it's 27,000 for the floors, I might have to pay more, but hey, I might get that back when I do, you know, I don't know, my siding, right?
I'll scale back on something else.
I'll scale back on something else. So
it really wants these cabinets.
Exactly.
So,
it averages out if you do it that way. So you got to be detailed. Listening to you talk, it makes me think, like, obviously with the success of the show and you guys are moving around, how active are you now inside of the companies, right? The construction company, the real estate investing. Are you as active as I'm looking at the mahogany cabinets and what's that? That's a Viking range? What is that?
Yeah. The range is kind of nice. That's new. Like the last year.
How active or non-active are you? Like, are you at the point where it's like, yeah, I want to do more, or, you know, my schedule just doesn't permit?
I've kind of fallen back from the construction piece. I just don't have the physical time. What I'm trying to do now is venture into the world of development, right? So the 20-unit complexes, I'm trying to learn how to plant my feet in that particular arena. You know, like where you see a whole subdivision, stuff like that. That's where I'm kind of headed towards. So I'm trying to really start jumping more into the new construction as opposed to the renovations. That's my goal. I've started to venture out of state. I think a lot of opportunities are out of state, especially I can speak to y'all. Y'all know that these buy-in numbers are crazy in the tri-state area. So you can really get your feet wet in some of the smaller markets and get some education along the line, and limit your risk. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you up here, if you buying your first house, a lot of these houses are almost $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So from an investment perspective, if you want to buy your first flip, let's say you pick up a flip for, a friend of mine just bought a flip in Jersey City. I think she spent like $600,000. Most people don't have 20% of $600,000 to put down on a flip. You get what I'm saying? And then even if a hard money lender or a bank is giving you the renovation, you still got to carry that house. So let's say the renovation takes you 8-9 months because you got to pull permits for the banks. You got to do this the proper way. A lot of people don't have $6,000 to carry a house every single month. Then this contractor left the job. You know what I mean? Like, you still are responsible for that mortgage payment. The bank don't want to hear, I had an argument with ABC Construction. They could care less. So I think that some of the smaller markets are where we could be potentially looking with regards to getting into investing. But me, I'm kind of falling back from the construction piece a little bit. I want to get into a little bit less hands-on, because I'm hands-on. Like, I tile, I all this stuff. I did this stuff myself. I tiled that backsplash myself.
It looks beautiful.
It's a lovely backsplash.
How much per square foot was that? What's that from? Spain or Egypt?
That looks like it's Italian marble with a touch of granite. What is that?
Yo, this stuff is old, dog. It's almost 7-8 years old. But no, I just, again, me personally, I'm trying to just level up a little bit. I want to be like y'all when I get older. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to level up and do some other things in the investment field, more so than the construction side. I'm kind of off it a little bit.
Yeah. Could you recommend, if a person wants to get started in real estate investing, maybe like 3 sites or 3 books that you love, and also on the podcasting side? Hell of a broadcaster. I tell you all the time, like, I love your takes. How do you get better at media when you and I both first were like apprehensive about doing it? So for those who aspire to be a star, or Drewski, or you, Troy and Rashad, like, how do you get better at the broadcasting part as well?
Which piece do you want to answer to first? The
broadcasting.
I think you got to watch more people. Like I think a lot of people think you just can be smart and cut a TV on or a camera on and just go. It's more than that. I think the people that are really good at this, their charisma comes across and it resonates and it translates to the people or to the watcher or the listener. You could be a genius, but you can't convey your thoughts well. You know what I'm saying? So it's more than just being smart. You could be funny, but you might not be able to reach the people in a certain way. Like some comedians are really, really funny, but they don't pop like other comedians pop. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like if you watch a Joe, you watch a Schultz, you watch Charlemagne, like these guys invoke emotion. Me, like I'm one of the most hated dudes now for no reason. I don't know why, but
are you really? You're so easy to love.
Yeah. But again, if somebody hates your guts or if somebody loves you, you're invoking emotion, which is an interest. Like I remember back in the day, Howard Stern, they said the people that hated the show watched more than the people that loved the show. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. It's human nature, but I think you just gotta be able, you gotta have some charisma, yo. You gotta have some, I don't gotta tell y'all, you gotta have something that makes people wanna watch you every single day or every single week. Something in you gotta draw the people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my opinion.
Ish, thank you for joining us, my brother. And when you speak, hopefully you can speak about this tomorrow and say you had a good experience. And hopefully if you are able to say you had a good experience, just if you do reference that we had the same shirt on, it was done by coincidence. It wasn't on purpose.
Poe gonna clip that up. Harrison, you already know somebody.
It was a coincidence. It was purely a coincidence. But
at this point, they're gonna be EYL-ish. They're gonna be calling you EYL-ish tomorrow. So
that's what they doing.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Of course, Joe. Of course.
So, oh man, but nah.
Looking forward to collaborating more. Are you coming to Invest Fest? Let me pressure you. You gonna do a panel? Something?
Knock it off, yo. You don't. Yeah, I'll do a panel if y'all serious. I'll do a panel. I mean, let me know. I might come down there. I'm not sure. Again, you know, I got some things on the table, dog. I'm trying to, you know.
It's only one of the biggest. You want to expand. Only want to expand into development. And some developers there, opportunities there,
amazing
family here.
The creme de la creme of developers will be there.
The creme de la creme.
That's a fact.
Of developers.
People of that nature are the creme de la creme. I'm probably shoot down there. I'm not sure though. I really haven't. I don't want to say yes, and then I'm not able to make it, and then you guys look at me like I'm reneging.
Don't worry, we won't, but the people will.
Well, if at the very least, we will have. Joe has confirmed that he will be there.
Okay,
so at least we'll have one representative.
There you go.
The JB.
That's the one that people want to see anyway. There you go.
You're good. Broadcasting.
Got LeBron down there. Y'all got LeBron down
there. Good. You are good spin.
They don't want to see AP. They want to see LeBron.
I see you.
LeBron.
Stop it.
Yo, what's going on with your house anyway? Yo, y'all finished?
I'm looking at a completion date in the fall, probably mid-October.
When they start?
They started last May, but it was a whole process with the town inspector. It was a whole thing. They cracked ground last May, and so we finished it up.
Even with that, like that's an education, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Oh man,
municipalities, all of that stuff play a part.
Permits, extensions, contractors.
The municipalities play a part. The utility companies play a part. All of those things play a part in new construction. That's why even sometimes when people ask me, I kind of steer new investors away from new construction. It's an education that most new investors don't have. Nor again, you had to carry that house the entire time. I don't know what kind of loan you got. You know, you might have, paid for everything out of pocket.
Is that what you did when you flew that marble from Italy over to that kitchen?
Nah, this was local marble.
Nah,
This North marble.
what he's not showing us is
This Jersey City marble. You know what I'm saying? But
he's not showing us the 11-foot island that he's sitting in front of.
The local marble.
yeah, this local marble. They pulled this out of the ground over there in New Brunswick.
Parsippany.
Yeah, exactly. But like, again, some of these things, I just think that I'm setting. Well, you know, that Troy and Rashad, I don't know, but I'm setting up a platform to start kind of, I don't want to call it mentorship, but conversations on new investors. Like I'm constantly giving information out in my DMs and on my socials. So now it's like, yo, I might as well open up a forum so that new investors could learn some things. I really want to just focus too on new investors. Like I'll talk to other people, but I just really want to focus on new investors and teach them some of the pitfalls, the do's and don'ts of jumping into real estate investing. Again, leave these cars alone. You know what I mean? That's just something so small, but it could be pivotal. A lot of people spend money too quickly. Once you get your first flip, you might have made 150 grand. Reinvest that money. Especially with us, we'll go buy a watch. Yeah. Like seeing Rashad watch, I want to get a watch. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I want to be like the EYL boys. They told me this is possible. I'm gonna live my dreams. Reinvest that money. You know what I'm saying? Literally. People make 100K. That's a lot of money. People work 12 months for 100 grand, 2 years for 100 grand net. You know what I'm saying? Reinvest that money. And in 2 years, you might have $1 million liquid. A lot of people don't really see that, and they don't have anybody to guide their hands in that. But that's an easy possibility if you have the discipline to save. Most of us don't have the discipline to save. But the second that we get our first hit, we run to the jewelry store, we run to the dealer and buy, you know, a blue G-Wagon.
Damn.
You know what I mean? That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? But no,
Jesus,
it's a real conversation.
Hopefully you don't go through that. That's why.
Yeah, there you go.
Big facts for real.
I wasn't privileged enough to be able to do those things. I think again, it's a conversation to be had for a bunch of the people. I had the privilege of listening to some of Pinky, and you know, I was blown away by some of the stuff that she was saying. I think that you know, amazing. we I've never even heard her speak before, so I was really, really, really taken aback by some of the stuff that she was saying. I think we owe it to ourselves to start instilling some of the information into the youth. And I just think we don't listen. Your boys ain't gonna listen.
Facts.
See you go from shit to sugar, and they won't listen. Let a stranger tell them. They be like, "Yo, where do I sign?
Gold, right?
Where do I sign?" You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. What? That's just we gotta do better. You know what I'm saying? We gotta do some things, read some books, and just educate ourselves, and then lean on our friends to get some more education in this space. And just in business.
Can you find us like a 16 unit to invest in as a collective? I'm gonna put some pressure on you.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna do you how Joe did. I'm gonna actually put the money up.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Again, like even with that, like that's one of the things for beginners. And again, you live, and I mean, it's getting up there where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to figure out how we get Wi-Fi installation in the crib.
Gotta get my boy Starlink. I got my boy Freeze.
He back.
Damn. Okay.
What's going on with the EYL server? I know y'all got a
No. You need Starlink. Come on. You on the 4th floor, so you got to go to like the regular level.
What got CrowdStrike in his building?
That's y'all. I know y'all got a server like
tenants is draining the Wi-Fi.
You stealing Wi-Fi, bro? Stop it.
Tell a person in the basement to cut their phone off.
Yo, no, I was saying like one of the tips for beginning investors: get a roommate, dog. You got to be willing to sacrifice.
What? Say that again?
I ain't getting a roommate.
Y'all
16 units.
Y'all in the position where y'all got to do that. I'm talking about new investors. Yo, we get into a place in the economy, dog, where when you graduate college, you're not going to be able to afford a house.
That's a fact.
It's over with.
That's a good. But at what age? At what age do you think it maybe not be appropriate to get a roommate? Is there no barriers on that?
The only reason why you don't want a roommate is because you want to bring chicks over.
So I'm saying
you can't clap freely.
Which is a valid reason, by the way. I'm not dismissing.
It's valid. I think. But be clear.
You're not roommate.
Listen, be clear.
I know you flip master. Stop.
No, depending on how nice your shit is, they don't care.
They won't even matter.
They don't care.
Yo,
when you got the Florida Center with the view,
look, you got
the LEDs, boy.
West wing, Troy over here in the east wing. I'm downstairs in the basement. That's 2,000 square feet, and we balling, and we got them things.
Okay.
That's the vibe. Yeah,
I thought you were talking like apartment vibes. I'm like, that didn't make no sense.
I'm just saying the concept of I'm just saying if you want,
like name on the milk type stuff. Like we're not doing that.
Oh, no.
You ate my cereal? Yo, no, I just think I'm talking about for younger people. Like, yo, you 24, 25, 26 years old.
That's fair.
Up here, dog, might have to be a reality for you nowadays.
That's fair.
That's a fact. You got
one bedroom is pushing $2,500, $3,000, depending on where you
crazy.
are.
On a cheap side. That's a fact. That's a fact.
When you just graduated college and you make $60K, bro, you bring it home $4K a month.
Fact.
Maybe.
If 4K. You get what I'm saying? So I can't afford to live on my own. So you might do that and sacrifice to get a bigger goal. You know what I'm saying? Like to be able to really start to invest in the real estate stuff, you need to be able to put away some bread. And you got to sacrifice to make those dreams come true.
Ish. Thank you, my brother.
I appreciate you, my brother, for showing up.
Appreciate you. Yeah. Send the guys my regards. Always good when you
shout Corey.
But let them know how welcome you were over here.
Yeah.
My guys, enjoy. Thank you for having me.
Hi, bro.
I appreciate you, my brother.
Later, fellas.
All right, bro.
There you have it.
Peace.
Ish.
Shout out to my brother Ish, man. Thank you for pulling up.
To Ish.
A man of his word.
Got to pressure your friend. Yeah, he kept his word. Shout out to my guy.
Fact. Shout out to Ish.
Impeccable with your word.
Big Jersey. All right. Yeah, that was fun. A lot, man. A lot. Get your tickets to Invest Fest. All right. So let's do the winners.
All right. Without further ado, let's get to this, man. Let's get to our winner of the Welcome to Atlanta Invest Fest sweepstakes. Shout out to everybody that bought a GA ticket this week that has automatically entered you into the sweepstakes. But first, let's tell everybody what you're going to receive. First thing is $5,000 in cash, a VIP ticket upgrade, a meet and greet with ourselves and TI, exclusive Invest Fest VIP dinners, tickets to an Atlanta Falcons home game, tickets to the Trap Music Museum, tickets to 85 South ATL live show, a 1-year access to EYL University, and access to real estate and business creation courses. Shout out to our brother Tip, and shout out to everybody that entered once again. So you know how this works. We're going to make this as transparent as possible. So we've submitted everybody's names that has bought a GA ticket. You are entered automatically, and let's get this thing started. All right, so we're going to have one grand prize winner, but we will have 4 people who will automatically have their tickets upgraded to a VIP one. So let's put 5 winners. All right, again, number 1 will be our grand prize winner. So let's do that. Let's confirm everybody's name is there, and let's get this thing going. All right, here we go. All right, there it is. Dante Moore, congratulations. You are the official winner of the Welcome to Atlanta Invest Fest sweepstakes. Congratulations. The Invest Fest team will be reaching out to you with all the information needed to make sure that your weekend is super successful and that we get to actually meet and greet each other, man. That's going to be dope. So I'm super excited for you. And the other 4 names that are appearing on your screen, your tickets have automatically been upgraded to VIP. So congratulations to y'all. Make sure that you have all of the necessary things needed to make sure your Invest Fest weekend is not only beneficial to you, but also your family and your friends. All right. It's going to be a magical weekend. We look forward to seeing you all. Peace.
Okay. Congratulations to all of the winners.
Congrats.
So the 4 people got upgraded to VIP tickets and the 1 person won.
Yes.
So congratulations to all the winners. Get your tickets to Invest Fest. Next week, we got a big guest. Next week, man. One of the whales. Bringing in one of the whales next week. So that's going to be one of the ones. And that's it. All right, guys. It's been real. Love.
Yeah.
Love y'all
See y'all
so much.
Thursday.